evening, everybody. How are you today, tonight, wherever you are? It's Dadman Walking 55 coming at you. Actually, on time tonight. Right exactly on the dot at 10 o'clock tonight. Maybe a few seconds later, but hey, 10 o'clock on the East Coast of the U.S. tonight. Woohoo! And tonight, my friends, we start our Christmas week celebration tonight. Um, we a week full of planned and surprise streams that will be coming up. A whole bunch of different things that you will be seeing. So, looking forward to having each and every one of y'all here. Hopefully, every night this week, we got a lot of cool stuff planned, and we will be talking about that in just a second. I'm uh, putting out a tweet right now. Hey, it's going to be a great time this week. So, we will we're doing a bunch of different things. We got some movies thrown in. We got some traditional things thrown in. We got some looking at weather and places and stuff. I mean, just a whole bunch of different things, and even building some gingerbread houses. Uh, it's just going to be fun tonight to see this week to see what goes on. Not just a normal thing, not just just try to liven things up and have a little bit of fun spirit with this coming into the Christmas season and the Christmas week itself, because who knows, next week we can crash and hard and rest and recover. So with that said, I've got my tweet out now there that we are live, and looking at the chat, looks like y'all have also jumped us to the gun and seen us here ahead of time, and we are going to see you guys out there in chat in just a second. But first off, let's go ahead and greet our wonderful guest this evening. He's a man from I think Canada is technically the Great White North, but hell, anything that's not Florida is usually white, and it's much more north than here, because some parts of Florida, we're still fighting the Civil War. So, hey, we are definitely south of South can be. Let me introduce, we are both, and we are also on YouTube and Twitch tonight. Let me introduce the one, the only, a returning guest. He's actually popped up a few times with us on various channels, on various panel streams, and actually the first time we talked about the state itself. Let's give him a rousing Dadman welcome channel. Welcome back to the great Alaska man, Jeff. Jeff, how are you?
Greetings, one and all. Thanks for having me back.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, always a blast. We learn a lot, especially with you, and especially if you ever want to see somebody in the power of Google Maps, Jeff's your guy. So,
by the way, if you're looking for a title for Alaska, a common title is Last Frontier.
Last Frontier, okay, because the Great White North is Canada, right?
I do believe so, yes.
Okay, I think so. Well, our resident Canadian Santa Megatron probably can help confirm that. But hey, well, good. How has your day been, Jeff?
Well, things are getting snowy up here. We have about 2 inches of snow out there, and we're going to have probably another 2 or 3 before the night is out.
Oh, man. Dang. That would definitely shut us down. But
yeah, well, that's kind of normal. We've been getting that about every 2 days, actually.
So so I guess at this point, with as cold as it is, then the snow does not melt off, right?
Well, we do have periods of snow as well as some melting periods. When it's added together, a lot of the snow will end up becoming packed down into these kind of like mini glaciers throughout the entire state. And so you can step on top of the snow, and you're actually stepping on also a lot of ice that's deep underneath of it.
It's the freeze and refreeze, I guess.
Yeah, so we have something up here called a Chinook wind. Have you ever heard of that?
I've heard of Chinook helicopter, so no, I have not. So what is that? Is it similar?
So what happens during the middle of winter is we will get a lot of cold weather in from the north. That will usually give a deep freeze to the area, but you won't really get a whole lot of snow. And then we will end up getting a whole lot of snow when the winds change directions. Well, what is usually happening, is that there is a warm breeze coming up from the south. And so then it hits that cold mass of air and then just dumps a whole lot of snow upon us. But then that warm weather just keeps pushing. And then we end up having a lot of that snow melt. But
Mhm.
then the cold weather comes back and then we'll freeze it all again. So it takes the snow, gives us a whole lot of it, then packs it down and freezes it. And then that cycle starts over again.
Oh man, so it basically never thaws. It just, and I guess it creates a larger bank, right? Because it never freezes, it never thaws completely.
On the occasion, the wind will get really strong and we can lose almost all of our snow within about a 2-3 day period of this wind just blowing. But usually it means that more snow will come on its way once the winds change direction.
Like the missus says, definitely too cold. Too cold for us Floridians. Because this is what we think of Christmas in Florida. Here it's like, hey, meanwhile in Florida, even the Gators prep for Christmas. But yeah, this, the unofficial state mascot. Too bad the
I think
football
that
team's not very good.
I think that lizard might count as that might count as like a lizard man Santa.
Ah, there you go. Hey, Lizard Man Santa. All right, we love that. So, hey, well, let's say hi to the chat now since we've gotten started. We've gotten a little woken up. And Corey Cochran. So, am I late early? He was so early. He was way, way early. So, hopefully, you're still around, Corey, or we see you tonight. Hey, thanks for being here. The Mrs. is here. Hello, Mrs. Great to have you as always. And oi to our resident Canadian up there and north of the border, which actually I think yesterday is when we had the missus had her morning stream and she like lost control and or it was either yesterday or Sunday and she like I thought I was gonna have to go out there and rescue her because she just got she actually said Canada and then she just started laughing. It was like getting in one of those laughing circles where you couldn't get out of it. But hey, so good to see us, Santa Megatron, and oh ho ho ho. Okay, two movies with ho ho ho, Christmas Story and Die Hard, which tomorrow night, 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern, join me and the great Daisy Blossom as we talk about Die Hard. And hey, come have the debate, fight for your position. Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Jeff is free to say what he thinks tonight if he'd like to, but I'm not. I'm reserving the rights for tomorrow night. But it's always a good topic of debate, isn't it, Jeff?
Yes, absolutely. In the fact that it's wrong, it's not a Christmas movie.
Oh, but you know what's so funny is that people are so passionate about it, on both sides.
It makes
You
makes for a good internet meme.
exactly. All right, so that would be good too. I don't know, it gave me an idea too of what I need to remind to look for. So hey, and good more. I was about to say good morning, but hell to you, Sci-Fi Mombi. Great to see you with us tonight. Thank you for being here. So good to have you as always. So Santa Megatron said, "Don't ask me. I don't know these things about Canada and what Canada's called." And Sci-Fi Mombi said, "Your weather sounds like Missouri sometimes."
Actually, I would have to say that Iowa and Ohio are colder than where I am here in Alaska.
Mm, really? Is that generally or just currently?
During the winter, yeah, I
Uh-huh.
think as a whole, I think that like South Dakota gets extremely cold. And to find that same type of temperature, you have to travel about 200, 300 miles north of where I am.
Mm, wow. That kind of a surprise. I tell you, it was interesting being up in South Dakota in the summer this year. I mean, it was really pleasant. It was nice. Oh my gosh, the mosquitoes. Oh man, up near Wall, South Dakota. Everybody thinks about Florida mosquitoes. Man, those things in Wall nearly. You should have seen. Mrs. knocked one off my leg at the nuclear sites, at the old missile sites. Oh man, it was horrible. The blood stain that was on it, and also you had that, and you also had a wall. It was like at dusk. They were worse than anything I ever had around here. I mean, they really. It's like they were carrying you away. Uh, do y'all have mosquitoes up there where y'all are, or is it just
They're
climatically too cool?
massive.
Really, I find
Yes,
that funny. That now, obviously, in the cold season, they're not around, right? But definitely in the summer.
true. Yeah, and they're everywhere. I don't remember if I mentioned this last time, but there are over 3 million bodies of water up here in Alaska.
Hmm.
We blow like most regions of the world out of the water, literally, in terms of how much fresh water we have up here.
Wow.
Well, a lot of that is stagnant. So you can
Hmm.
imagine what happens when mosquitoes come across these areas. You will see clouds and clouds of mosquitoes. It's so bad that a lot of the wildlife will go to the water and submerge all the way up to the nostrils just to get away from them.
Jeez. That. I've heard of mosquitoes being bad, but that's bad. That's bad.
It is truly miserable. It's one of the worst places for mosquitoes, as I understand. But the one benefit, you don't get diseases
Oh, really? Why is that?
because usually they die out from the cold. It's a very young population. There's not a lot of chance for a lot of the illnesses to kind of be passed on. There's a period of where kind of like the entirety of nature just takes all those viruses or illnesses and just cleanses them through the
Hmm.
winter. We don't have we don't have a ton of things like rabies. We do have rabies up here, but it's not as common. You don't have Lyme's disease, things like that.
Wow. Okay, that's it. That is interesting. I know that we were thinking about Lyme disease. Where was it? I think so, one of the places on our trips, had a potential tick exposure and stuff like that. Yeah, it's that is interesting to hear though. But yeah, it's see, I don't think about that. I think Florida is all the fresh water. I think all those things for Florida. Not never about being up north, whether it's Minnesota up to Alaska. It's kind of funny that you talk. I was it a Minnesota is known as the uh,
10,000 lakes for
10,000
Minnesota.
lakes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Man, I guess Minnesota doesn't have anything on Alaska then.
Well, we are also much, much bigger.
Yeah, yeah. Y'all are bigger than Texas, right?
Oh, yeah. We're
Okay.
bigger than double the size of Texas.
Wow. And everybody usually loses their stuff at the size of Texas, but hey. Well, hey. Shall we look at another funny Christmas meme?
That sounds delightful.
We're gonna bring some cartoon into it. Who likes the Flintstones? The
Oh, that was a
Flintstones.
classic.
Yes. Celebrate Christmas before the birth of Christ.
Oh, my.
Well, uh, back to the Stone Age, the prehistoric time. Well, I guess it's logical when you think about it. Anything before, back in the many, many years, even if, it's like, very logical meme. That's where I like a lot of memes when there's a lot of truth into it and they make you think of it.
Mhm.
It's really, really cool. So, but
So,
it's all,
did you know as I understand, there's only two traditions that have actually held on from before Christmas got rebranded, you could say. There's only
Mhm.
two things that still are holdovers, as I understand. One of them is the Yuletime log,
Right.
and the second thing is mistletoe. But almost
Really?
everything else has been swapped out at this point.
Wow. Okay. Did those say why that those stayed, but the others were gone?
No, no real. I don't really know. I just came across that recently and thought, well, that's actually quite
Hmm.
fascinating.
Well, I kind of wonder if, like the Yule log, hey, burn it, get you firewood, keep warm in the winter, and except when you're in Florida, it's like 85 degrees out, no Christmas. Or the mistletoe. Hey, if you like to get a smooch, have the mistletoe hanging around in the strategic places. But hey, one more real quick. Everybody, what's everybody's most favorite Christmas song that starts playing in the stores as soon as Halloween comes around these days? You know the song, folks. It's that Mariah Carey song, right?
That
Well,
is
hear it.
quite popular.
One snowflake falls. Here comes Mariah Carey. Oh gosh, yes. I know people's passions on this song is a lot hate with this one. So, oh my goodness, folks. So, hey, we're 15 minutes into the show tonight. Thank you. We have a few memes. You'll probably see these memes during the rest of the week. We also have a number of other memes that we have ready to get some laughs and stuff out of you. So feel free tonight. We're going to take a look with Jeff at Alaska. We're going to look at the weather up there. We've talked about it a little bit. We're going to hopefully see some pictures, some Google Maps, whatever Jeff has for us tonight to talk about. And, we'll talk about Christmas up there. What's a Christmas in Alaska like? Is it any different than, the rest of the continental U.S., or is it different? Maybe there are other traditions up there, other holidays. So we're going to and go and investigate this. So if you have any questions, feel free, put them out there in the chat, opine with us, leave your comments, questions, and we'll try to get to them as great as we can. So Jeff, so let me start with you. If you want to start with any type of hello, Ice Raven 11. Hey, Corey, he's coming in on the Twitch side. Good to see you tonight. Good to see you, Corey. Hey, thanks for being here. Do you want to start with anything prepared, or do you want to just be open-ended question for you?
Well, there's I got how many slides did I get there? I have 35 slides right now, and that was where I thought, okay, I'm getting a little too many here. So
well, let me let you
I
start.
have is a
you
little bit of everything to
Okay.
cover here. So what I'm going to do is, let's see here. I think the best thing to do is maybe share cam. Do you think that would work out best?
Let me see.
Or would it be better to go with something else?
Let me see. Let me put you in. Let me sort of solo layout. Okay, we'll do this. Let me see. We got this. So okay, let me exit solo layout. You could share and present.
Okay. Let me give that a shot.
Yeah, you could share it, and I'll present it and see. And that way, we'll kind of both be sort of still seen here. Thank you to everybody on the Twitch side too. So, by the way, folks, just to update you, the missus is up almost at 3 on Twitch now. Thank you for everybody that's come by her morning shows, her build streams to help get her number up to almost 3. She is so close to getting that last hurdle to be able to make affiliate status on Twitch. So keep up the good work. Remember, she's on at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern time. So feel free, be sure to drop by and support her too. I think this will work. Let's try this, Jeff.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'll let you talk about beautiful. This reminds me, before you get started, this reminds me a lot of our trip to Colorado, Wyoming, this summer, the snow-capped mountains, there's elevations where stuff never really melts, but.
Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of similarities to other northern regions up here.
Mm-hmm.
But something that I don't think people realize is that Alaska tends to be kind of cataloged as like the super cold, frozen wasteland. I mean, how many times have we heard something similar to that? It is very common to think of it as that. Especially during the winter, people will think of it as cold and dark. But there's something that is probably worth noting, and that is the only places you're going to really find that are super dark is going to be in the far, far north. Now, notice that there's only really one city up there. There's a lot of little villages, and there's a lot of oil rigs up there, but there's only one city.
Well, is Nome up there on the northern part too? Oh, no, I see Nome. Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
I cannot pronounce that. That's way up there. Wow.
Yeah, that one's a tough one. That's called Uktiavik. Now, up until recently, it was known as Barrow.
Mm-hmm.
So it got changed. The young kids decided that they wanted to change the name to something that's a bit more familiar to them in their native tongue. The older generation can't stand it, and so there's a bit of a divide. So some people call it Uktiavik to try and be culturally sensitive, but yet you ask the older folks and they still call it Barrow. So
yeah,
I call it Barrow. Maps will have it as Uktiavik. You'll see a Fairbanks down there right alongside with Nome. So 16 to 20 hours worth of sunlight, of winter during of winter darkness. So it's not really all that bad when you think about it. Sure, you have 4 hours of daylight. That's not great. You get further down south and it's much better. Right now, we are at about 7.5 to 8 hours of sunlight, based upon when it pokes its head up over the mountains.
Okay.
But it's not that bad. Yeah, actually, it's almost comparable to northern Scotland, if anybody's
Okay.
been there. So,
So if you said 7 to 8 hours, that you're further down south on this map, right?
so I'm right smack dab in the middle of the Anchorage area.
Oh, okay.
So,
Okay. Well, let me say hey real quick to Maddie's daddy. Hey, he saw a video on this town. Oh, great. Uh, and your Muslim uncle, hell to you. Welcome in. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Welcome. We are with Alaska Jeff looking at the state of Alaska right now. So your Muslim uncle said been to northern Sweden. About the same, he thinks. So,
mm,
so now to help me understand, so about the Alaska Anchorage is in the area about 12 to 16 hours. So that's the
of
okay
darkness, yes.
of darkness. Oh my gosh, what's it like though? One time we traveled up to Cincinnati, and it was in August, and oh my gosh, it was 10 o'clock at night, and the sun was still out. The sun was going down. It for us, like down here, in August it stays lighter longer, but it's maybe about 8:39. But it's like to have like bright lights at 10 o'clock. It's like that's time to go to bed, and it's usually dark. And then in the winter, now it's dark by 6 o'clock.
Right. So a lot of people get disoriented by that. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of people can't stand that.
Mm-hmm.
But uh, there is a blessing up here, and that is in the form of light from the sky, in the form of northern lights. So, northern lights actually illuminate a lot of the interior. A lot of people say that the northern lights get so bright, it's almost as if it's daylight. So,
Mm.
you have this as well. So, you're not necessarily cursed to be in constant darkness. You have kind of like a nightlight that is constantly going off in the north. You also have something else. During the
Mm-hmm.
summer, you have the most, and I mean truly the most intense sunlight you will ever find. It
Mm.
is brilliantly bright. If you look in its general direction, you are blinded.
Wow.
It is.
And is that part a combination of being so close near the pole, which is the closest part towards the sun, having an
So
effect
part
with
of it
that?
is that the atmosphere is really thin during the winter.
Mm.
And so there's nothing really to prevent the sun from scattering. It just comes down intensely. But also, when it gets closer to the ground, it will get impacted by a lot of the ice crystals in the air. Well, the ice
Mm.
crystals don't really cause it to diffuse, it kind of acts like a lens. So, what you're
Mm.
seeing here is something called a sundog. And it's where you start seeing multiple suns appearing in your vision. There's
Oh
one in the
wow.
middle, and then you'll see one to the right and to the left. On rare occasions, you'll see up to five, one above and one below as well.
That's a sun dog.
Sundog,
Wow. Okay. Wow.
the
That's
most
interesting.
intense light that I have ever seen.
Yeah, it for just from this photo, it looks really, really intense. But yet, it's still cold enough to where the sun doesn't melt the ice or the snow, though.
Yes, very true. Speaking of the snow and ice, we have many types of snow up here. In fact, the native Alaskans have a lot of different names for it. And I could not find a very good example of this, unfortunately. I took a photo of it and it has gone missing. But one of the beautiful things we get, especially in early winter and deep, deep winter, is something called hoarfrost. Have you ever heard of that?
No, no, I haven't.
So basically, it's when ice crystals start to form on branches, but then it gets to be about an inch or two in length. So you
Hmm.
imagine these little flakes of ice that are forming
Mm-hmm.
and just starts to look like snow because it has grown so thick. And by the way, if you like to taste the freshest snow in the world, get a handful of this, and it is actually quite refreshing. Um,
Hmm.
but beautiful, absolutely beautiful stuff.
Wow. And it's not from a water. So is it just the branches soaking up whatever available moisture's around and then forming ice in the air, not from a
Yeah,
rainfall.
precisely. It's just water vapor that will eventually start to collect on these ice crystals and build up. So it becomes super dry. So, like right now, the humidity is 30% right
Hmm.
now.
Right.
During the time of hoarfrost, it's below 10 because all the humidity is just disappearing.
Oh, really? I see. I was thinking that it would be more higher humidity to make that there was more, ingredients to make the ice. But that's interesting. So it's actually drying out the air and creating the ice.
Precisely.
Hmm.
And when you are looking across the Alaskan landscape up here, it's a combination of snow, ice, frost, and together it makes some of the most beautiful scenery you will ever see. If you ever watch the Chronicles of Narnia,
Hmm.
there is an area that is nearby where I live that actually looks like it's straight out of Narnia. Uh, in fact, to quote to quote uh, my old pastor when we were living up here years ago, he said that he half expected to see Aslan the lion pop out from behind a tree just because it was so deep and so beautiful. It has a lovely tint to the snow. It
Hmm.
will start to have kind of this bluish coloration. A lot of it is from the sky. And also it's because of how the ice starts to form. It's basically as pure of water as you can find. And so it has a perfect refraction inside of it where you don't have any sort of pollens or pollutants that are coloring the snow. It becomes a beautiful crystal blue. And you can see that many times if you go near glaciers. Glaciers will have a vivid blue color to the ice. And it's in part because of that. And you will find that sometimes nearby your house just because of how thick the snow can get or the ice.
Hmm. How
All that
well?
snow can definitely
Yep.
become a problem, though. This goes into what I was dealing with earlier today,
Oh
because
yeah,
then you have
yeah.
to deal with the snow
Well,
on the road.
you told me last night you might be late depending on how the weather was going. So what happened today? How's it like? Hey Wade, good to see you tonight. Glad to have you with us. So like tonight, you left early because of you know what's a normal commute like for you up in Alaska when there's snow on the ground and threat of snow?
So usually, everyone just says, go home early so you're not on top, so you're not stuck in the snow.
See,
Um,
okay, I know I asked that question, but I find that a very interesting response because a lot of people down south will remember. It probably was 10 years ago or something at least. It's been a while, but the city of Atlanta was facing a blizzard forecast, and everybody knew it was coming, but they had the schools open and everything else well into the afternoon to where, oops, hey, there's a big heavy storm that come through, and people weren't prepared. And it's like we had a friend that actually had to walk 10 miles to get their kid off of a bus somewhere. It's like, but so Alaskans take the forecast seriously and will plan. I mean, see, we kind of sometimes stereotype as this, oh, well, you got everything, y'all can drive through the snow and all this no matter what. But obviously, y'all have to be careful too.
yeah, we're not afraid of it though. So it's more like we're taking precautions. Not everyone does.
Hmm.
And so you will see a lot of people stuck in the snow.
Oh,
It's pretty bad in some areas. There was a vehicle. I drove by a vehicle not long ago actually, a couple of days ago where it was on top of about a stack of about 8 foot worth of snow. And it's just plopped on top of it. I have no idea how it got up there. But there it is, just
mhm.
sitting there, and the lights are blinking. And the guy's looking out, trying to figure out how he's going to get down, waiting for some assistance. And eventually, they did get it down. They had some emergency vehicle come over. And I'm guessing there's probably a ramp behind the snow. I'm not sure, but it was just kind of funny. Here was this pile of snow and a car just sitting on top of it.
Wow. See, that's something I just picture for Florida. When we have ice and storms and snow like that, it's like, and that happened one year. Miss and I had a stream last year with the one year it snowed here, and it was cars abandoned on the side of the road in the ditches. It was left on bridges. It was quite a sight to see. And we got 13 people with us tonight. Thank y'all for being here. On the Twitch side, make sure you follow us. On the YouTube side, hey, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Thank you for being here with us tonight. And I hope y'all sit back and relax and see what's going up in the great the great land of
Last frontier.
Last frontier. Thank you. So, and Chris, see, you jumped on me there. My chat just jumped on me. Hey, Christmas Maniac Mexico, no problem. You're here exactly when you need to be here. And you're thrilled to hear Jeff's stories. Well, sit back, relax. We're just getting started. Hey, let's have some fun together and enjoy seeing what it is like up in Alaska around the Christmas time. And we're just now scratching the surface. So follow, like, and subscribe. So, hey, all right, Jeff. So, yeah, it's very interesting to hear you say that because, like I said, it's sometimes we think y'all, like y'all are impervious to snow and ice, but I guess it's like anybody else.
Yeah. In the end, it's more like we're prepared. We have the vehicles, we have the snow tires, we have the plows, and we have the gravel. You don't want to use salt. You want to use gravel.
Mm-hmm.
Salt will melt. The gravel will stay. And what's more, you can sweep it up in the summer and reuse it.
That's interesting. Yeah, we went, like I said, when we went north on another trip up to the Cincinnati area, it was in winter. I wanted to get snowed in, but the miss is like, "I'll be careful" and all this stuff. And the concern is the salt and what it does to the undercarriage of your vehicles too. So,
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't imagine as much snow as y'all have. Everybody would have rusted out vehicles with the amount of salt you would have to use.
Exactly. In fact, I was over at a Subway just yesterday, and I looked out, and there's a little bit of ice on the ground. To an Alaskan, we look at that and say, "Hey, ice, be careful. Don't go running across the sidewalks. Assume that there's ice everywhere, and throw out gravel when you get the chance." Well, somebody, I'm guessing they must have been from. Well, I know for certain that they were not locals. They did not look or sound like they were locals at all. But they came by. They were a company that was hired to help clear the ice. So they go over and they start knocking down all of um, the icicles that were
Mhm.
over top of the sign and coming off the roof. They were knocking them down. You want to be careful with that, by the way. You don't want to get injured by those things.
Yeah,
Um,
it falls, and they're very sharp, very heavy too, and yeah, all that falling down.
oh yeah, but actually, the biggest thing you have to worry about is them just crushing you. Yes, they will hurt. Yes, they can be sharp, but yeah, I've seen these things fall, and they don't usually act like a spear. In the movies, they act like a spear.
Right.
In real life, they actually fracture
Hmm.
and crack, and then you just get pummeled with these things.
And isn't it too where you're not just dealing with like the immediate that you might hit something off the facade or the awning, but it's when you do that, you also knock stuff loose that's above it, and you have all of that coming down on top of you.
Oh yeah, exactly. So you want to be careful with it. I saw a guy, he was trying to knock down I think it was about an 8 foot uh icicle that was coming off the side of a building. It was just outside my work window, and that's how I knew the height, because I had been watching it over like a 3-4 day span as it was growing. So this guy went onto the roof and started whacking it with a shovel, waiting for it to break free. It
Hmm.
did break free after he started hitting it a few times, and it went down to the ground. And you just see the from the from the tip all the way up to the base, it just shattering in shards going everywhere. It just plows into the ground, kind of like if you've seen like those rocket tests where they'll fire like a missile or an aircraft into a solid brick of concrete. It kind of looked
Mhm.
like that, where it starts to vaporize, but the all the ice shards were going everywhere. and it was quite fascinating to watch. But then you realize that was hundreds of pounds worth of ice that just pummeled that spot. If you had been down there, or if someone's car had been there, it would have been in serious trouble.
Mm, yeah, yeah.
So
It's
speaking of,
like an avalanche, just like the mountain. It all comes down.
no,
Oh, I will tell
absolutely,
you also that packed ice does pick a punch. I mean, I know it was only a little bit, but when we were in Yellowstone, the missus hit me with a couple of the snowballs. But and that was just little things, and I mean, but packed that ice packed carries a good punch. I will say.
oh yeah. So I've with those guys that going back to the scenario with that I saw outside of the subway of these
Hmm.
foreigners that were dealing with, when I say foreigners, I don't mean that they're necessarily from outside the country. It just means that they're not Alaskan, which kind of encompasses a lot of people. But they came up and they looked at the ice that was so after they hit the icicles off at the roof, then they looked down, they saw the ice on the ground. And what
Hmm.
their solution was to get two giant 5-gallon buckets,
Hmm.
and they just douse the whole thing in salt. And I'm looking at these guys thinking, you just needed a handful of gravel to
Right.
throw out there. And here you are throwing down 10 gallons worth of salt onto one little area, and it's going to be covered within the next snowfall. The problem's going to start again.
Wow. Yeah.
So, yeah,
That's
not the most intelligent thing. Use gravel, folks.
yeah. Well, I know there's a lot of woulda, coulda, douldas, and bad information out there, and everybody runs to certain things so many times by default. But hey, look out for better options. But I did not even think about that with gravel because I tell you, I think what at least what I thought, uh, as it's been explained to me, is well, you want the ice all gone and have it melt, so then the ice would be melted by the salt theoretically. But really, what you're trying to do is traction, especially if you're going to have another snowfall very soon.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So usually when you wake up, you have to shovel the snow off your car,
Hmm.
or you have to just get off the window and then drive on the highway and watch it all blow away. Not advisable, but sometimes you do that.
Exactly. Exactly. All right. Oh, that's interesting. And I like what you said is the use of the word foreigners is really, I guess, are Alaskans and up there are really territorial, like, really more open for the locals and stuff. And you get the Continentals coming up and the Canadians coming up. Are they just, is it kind of
But
territorial or it just, you just kind of smile and nod because, oh, there's a foreigners there.
usually you think, well, this is why we have state troopers and whatnot to help them if something goes wrong.
Yes. Now we do have a question here. Maddie's daddy's asking, wouldn't the gravel tear up the roads?
It can.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's little gravel, but you have to remember Alaskan gravel has to be a lot stronger naturally just because we have so much snow. So average asphalt and gravel, most asphalt across the country will not do up here. In fact, somebody
Mm-hmm.
made the mistake. They were trying to cut corners up here in Alaska. They had the highway paved in cheap um, Californian asphalt, if I remember right.
Hmm.
Um, it was like they were trying to save money to save like 30% on the highway, something like that. I don't remember where it came from, but what I didn't know initially is that gravel has Vaseline in it. And based upon the amount of Vaseline, it will kind of be suitable for some regions and non suitable for others. If
Hmm.
you have Vaseline in the gravel up here, it will melt during the summer. And during the winter, when you get all the ice build up, it will go into the crevices and expand and cause it to break away. It will also cause a lot of the roads to warp. And a couple of years ago, when they did this to the
Mm-hmm.
highway got these frost heaves. Basically, the frost underneath pushes up and the water drainage pushes other areas down. It got so bad that there was, on average, a groove where both tires went that was between 6 to 8 inches deep, sometimes maybe even higher than that, to the point of where your vehicle could actually start to be ground in the middle of this W that was forming in the road.
Now, I've seen some roads before south of us that were on heavy, very heavy industrial trucks and stuff, where the constant wear, put ruts in the road. But geez, so you're talking about 6 to 8 inches that deep already, and that could be in snow and everything else. That's crazy.
But
Well,
yeah, so you want to be careful because otherwise you're going to end up on the side of the road, as do a great, great many people up here. And so
uh,
you just got to be careful.
Steve's saying that California roads are like driving on a giant cheese grater. Yes. Communist gravel. I don't know about that, but hey, it's all good. Oh, dude, that is a beautiful pattern, though, of the
Oh,
snow.
yeah.
Does it form naturally like that, or did somebody kind of
Oh, yeah. This forms naturally all over the place.
in terms of patterns like that, though?
Yes, exactly. So notice
Wow.
how that's a fence and it's
Hmm.
leaning over. There's the middle area where it broke, probably because an animal landed there or something like that. But it will overhang like that, and the ice will hold on, and it will be just fine.
Wow, that's very breathtaking. I mean, look at that. I mean, we see the icicles up there on the eaves, and then but just the solid white. It's just amazingly beautiful.
Indeed, and it's something that you really want to see in person.
Yeah,
The
I mean, the
photos
pictures can't
are
do it
nice, but
justice. You can tell. It almost, bringing it back to food, it almost reminds me of soft serve Dairy Queen ice cream. It is so smooth in texture. It just
oh,
you
it's
want to reach
better
out.
than that
Uh,
because when you look at it, it glistens.
hmm.
It is covered with little ice crystals. Remember that hoarfrost I mentioned earlier?
Right.
Well, all that acts like little tiny reflectors, and as you walk by, the snow shimmers. So it really does look like it's out of a Hollywood movie.
Hmm. Wow. Yeah, I can tell. Like so much of nature, so much you really can't appreciate it. I mean, you can, but it's there's nothing like being there, the real view. And the closest thing I can compare it to is like this summer to Yellowstone. It's just amazing.
So during the winter, you do want to be cautious, though.
Hmm.
Um, we do have, how should I put, some very powerful predators up here in
Yay!
Alaska.
I wish we have some of our friends around here. They're not here tonight, I don't think, but our polar bears and our wolves. So
So during winter, most animals get weaker, save two. These two get stronger in winter. In particular, the wolf. The wolf gets very strong, um, to the point of where I would dare say a wolf is more powerful in the winter than in the summer.
hmm.
Um, very, very impressive animals, but they're everywhere. Not the polar bears. You have to go further north for that. Um, I think Nome is about as far south as they'll travel. So you're not going to see polar bears down here. And you're rarely, rarely going to see another bear that's awake during the winter because they are so tired. They just want to find a den somewhere, curl up, and go to sleep.
Hmm.
And wolves, for the most part, they'll leave you alone. But there is an animal up here you got to be careful of. No, it's not the little ptarmigan. No, it's not the little bunny. Oh, what's that thing in the background? That giant monstrosity, that giant brown thing.
Is that an
Oh
elk
yeah,
or moose?
that's a moose.
Moose.
You got
Okay.
to be careful of the moose. These things
Holy cow! Look at that
fly.
thing fly.
These things fly through the snow. They are everywhere, and they love the city. So
Yes, I
you're
remember
driving
from the
downtown.
last time. I remember last time you talked and you showed pictures or video of them in the towns.
Absolutely, yeah. They are everywhere. They have no fear, and they just like to live among people.
Wow.
People mean safety from bears and wolves, and
Hmm.
yeah, sure, you got to watch out for them with your vehicle because they'll take out the vehicle and sometimes they'll walk away.
Yep, we've seen that. I mean, there have been deer known to do that places down
Mhm.
here.
They're also curious.
Hmm.
And the males will actually keep their antlers. So you got to be extra careful around them.
Mm.
But
One
yeah.
question I got, just looking at this, I mean, night driving up there, is it like something you have to do when you, or is it better to avoid night driving? Because I can imagine it's like anywhere around here where there's no traffic lights, maybe when you're in the city, but I mean, street lights. You know, how's the driving? And a lot of wildlife on the roads too.
So this is the thing you got to watch out for. Almost everything else, you're in the clear for winter. Wolves are not going to come hunt you down, whatnot. But the moose, they'll walk out into the middle of traffic without a second thought. And it's not
Mm,
like hitting a deer.
yeah.
This is hitting an animal that is 3 or 4 times the size of a deer. So it's going to take you out. There's a guy,
Mm.
he was driving on the road. There's a moose in front of him, and it went over the hood of his vehicle into the cabin, all the way so that the moose's head was resting right next to the person's head, and the moose's body was all inside the vehicle.
Whoa.
They lucked out. But yeah, very dangerous in that sense. But when you're driving, I gotta say, I actually prefer driving at night. And now
Mm,
here's the reason why. Remember what I said about how the snow will glisten up here?
right.
When you're driving at night, you can see everything. Your headlights are on. You
Hmm.
see the moose walking along the tree line. You see where the ice spots are on the road. It is safer than driving in the daytime because during the
Wow.
day you have the sun really low on the
Hmm.
horizon, and it is just blinding you.
Well, I tell you that's interesting here because all of our driving down here with no snow and all is just dark. It's so dark, but it's interesting. You know, the reflections off the light give you more. You know, it's like you basically wouldn't need traffic street lights. You know, you already have it with the snow on the side of the road.
Indeed, and we do have a lot of streetlights up here, and we're going to get to that part in just
Yeah.
a moment
Okay.
here of where we're going to go over the how Alaskans decorate for Christmas because well, we're almost to that part.
All
I'm
right.
sorry if
That's
I'm taking
awesome.
too much time on the
No,
on
we're
this little
having
part
fun.
here.
We're 47 minutes in. Let me just say hello to everybody real quick while you take a breath. Thank y'all for being here. We've still got 10 people with us. Make sure you follow us on the Twitch side. If you're here on the YouTube side, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure to double check where things happen. Make sure you've hit that like button. Share out the stream. If you're on Twitter, follow me, retweet it out. Bring your friends and stuff. And, you know, we've got a long week of things to come this week. I'm going to take a second and just show that real quick while you rest up for just a second, uh, Jeff. But hey, you know, we have Alaska Jeff tonight here with us, starting it off. You know, our uh, fun for the week starts tonight. We're a week of Christmas, leading it up to Christmas night. Of course, there are some unplanned things that will happen. You know us; we always do stuff randomly and things at times. But as a body, as a way to get started, we brought Jeff in tonight here, and you see what's coming up. Our December holiday special starting tonight with Alaska Jeff, Alaska Snow, and Christmas, as we're seeing right now, and we're still going through. Tomorrow night, Die Hard with Daisy Blossom at 8 p.m. Eastern. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie? Come be part of our discussion. I will not say what I think. Jeff did earlier, but hey, I will not come talk to us tomorrow night. Let's talk about the movie itself and let's tackle that age old question. Of course, then on Thursday night, it would be the second time we've had a Dad Man Holiday Special 2023 edition with Squeak a Mouse. We do it. You know, we did one in 2022, and now we'll do one in 2023. Friday's a little up in the air as to what will happen. Saturday's got some variety into it, but Saturday not shown here. The Mitz and I will be doing a stream, and we will be building a gingerbread Millennium Falcon. And then on Christmas Eve itself, 3 p.m., join us, the great, well, he's Christmas Maniac Mexico tonight, but hey, you know him as Masters, or if you're on Twitch, know him as Rolos. Come join us for a German Christmas on Sunday, December 24th at 3 p.m. He's got a lot of activities planned, not just food, games, and stuff. So, hey, it's going to be a blast. So, All right, so join us all this, and then probably we'll do something on Christmas. Who knows what we'll do? But hey, with that said, Jeff, all right,
What a
you ready
lineup.
to? Yeah, it is a great lineup. Real busy week coming up. A busy week at work too. On top of it, so ooh, I came home and took a nap tonight. Get ready tonight. So hey, but all good. All right, with Jeff, with that, we'll turn it back over to you then.
All right. So one of the now this is where we start getting to how Alaskans spend time in winter. We now know a bit about Alaskan winters. You know about the creatures, you know about the lights and the sort of weather that we have. So, what does an Alaskan want to do? Do they want to huddle inside by the warm fire? No, they want to go out and into the great outdoors. They want to go sledding, skiing. They want to go on their dog sleds. Um, sure, I know dog sleds are not super common up here, but I'm actually surrounded by quite a few people that are in that area. And we
Mm-hmm.
do have preparation because we do have a festival that takes place in late winter called For Rendezvous. And that is worth taking a look at if you ever travel up here in late February, early March. So
Okay, that's a festival. Cause see, I was about to think. I was running through my mind. I hear and I think automatically with Alaska, Iditarod.
that's what it ties to. So
Okay.
Iditarod takes place during that same time. So the dog sleds will many times be working during this time frame in preparation. And for those, just very briefly, for those that don't know, the Iditarod is based upon the uh, trip that happened between Nanana and Nome in order to deliver medicine to the children who are dying of diphtheria. And here's one of the sled dogs and its owner, Togo. And that was the other one that people are more familiar with is Balto.
Mm. And hello, Jeremy. Good to see you tonight.
So early on, Alaskans didn't really spend a whole lot of time celebrating the holidays. They were a bit too preoccupied with something called the gold rush. And so
Yeah.
um, they were,
Everybody thinks of California and the gold rush, but yeah, you're right. A lot of parts were with the gold rush. Yeah, forget that about Alaska. And hey, Haw, good to see you, Haw. How are you doing tonight?
howdy haw.
I don't know. Is Haw still playing a Fortnite the same way since there seem to be fewer gas stations in the game now?
Haw's been doing a lot of book reading, as I understand.
Okay.
Um, but
Yes.
yeah. Oh, greetings,
All right. Well,
Abomination. He says, I
great.
missed the Togo talk.
Oh man.
I just highlighted it for a brief moment.
Well, if you want to expand on it, we can expand on it a little bit if you would like to. But greetings, Abomination AJ. I don't know that I've seen you here before, but hey, I know you have a channel out there. But hey, welcome. Thank you for coming in. Good to see everybody tonight. We got 10 people here. Yes. And Haw says they're doing good. Yeah. I just remember Haw and some of my people got corrupted by blowing up the gas stations and in that. But if you do want to go back to Togo, I don't mind. I mean, that's kind of interesting to go back and see that a little bit more. Because we do talk about the Iditarod, we talk about the dogs, and really the dogs are really something that's everybody thinks of. They're more than just uh, pets and stuff. They're really almost like horses in a way, as work animals, right?
They are used in place of horses up here. Um, and there is a very good reason for that. Remember how I said that wolves get stronger as winter sets upon the land?
Mm-hmm.
Well, these huskies, they get stronger too as winter sets in. They are the type of animal where they would rather sleep in the snow, covered by about a foot of snow, than come inside. And these animals love to work. If you show them a sled, they get ecstatic. And you should see like footage of the Iditarod. Watch how happy the dogs are the moment they realize they're going to get to be on the sled team. They will
Mm-hmm.
start jumping all over the place. They're yapping. They are so excited. And they were used in place of horses, not because people didn't bring horses up, but horses don't fare so well in the deep snow.
Mm-hmm.
And so people tried weird things. They tried using moose in place of horses. That didn't go so well. And the native Alaskans, they use dogs. And what's more, dogs have been used in northern regions for a long time. And so pioneers were like, hey, let's use dogs to travel about. And it made travel so much easier.
Hmm.
Um, and so then we have Togo and Balto, who both were two of the most famous of sled dogs just because of their uh, efforts in bringing medicine to uh, to Nome, and that happened in the early 1900s, 1915, if I remember right.
Hmm.
Uh, Fascinating journey. They traveled in like they traveled an astronomical distance, and they did it in blizzards.
Mm.
So Togo, what is interesting about Togo is he actually had to lead his team across the ocean. So the ocean freezes over. Well,
Hmm.
they decided to take a shortcut and went over the ocean in order to get the medicine further along in less time.
Well,
They
interesting.
traveled something like 190 miles, something like that, a very long distance. Um, the longest of that relay, which they had a couple dozen teams helping out in order to pull it off, because there's a lot of sled teams out there. But then Bolta was the one that we think about because he was the one that actually was the last leg of that journey. We always remember the final one in the relay. We many times forget about those that came before.
Hmm. Yeah, Abomination AJ says, I love seeing animals and humans working together. Well, this is the ultimate of humans and animals working together because, you have to, there's a lot going into training the dogs. And isn't there a bond that forms between the dogs and the drivers and stuff?
Oh
It's not
yeah,
just, it's a big process, isn't it?
oh yeah. In fact, I we know there's a family friend who's a musher. And one of the things they'll do with the dogs is that they will try and make sure that the dogs are completely comfortable whenever they touch them. And so they'll do weird things to them just in order to form the bond. And one of the things they'll do is they'll grab the dog by the hind legs, lift it up into the air, and the dog would just be there panting and just happy that it is being interacted with. A lot of dogs don't like that to begin with, but they do that because they need the dogs to know that they can trust the musher in all uh, occasions.
Hmm.
And you want that because if you fall off your sled, and this is a very real danger, if you fall off your sled, your dogs, if they don't trust you, if they don't really want to have that strong bond with you, they'll leave. They'll just
Wow.
keep mushing on. They
Wow,
won't
that's
turn
something the
around to see you.
dogs. Yeah, well, that's something. And hey, howdy to you, Zach. It's good to see you tonight. Hey, and Zach, AJ must love animals. Then, if you're not surprised, but good to see both of you guys. It's great to see 12 great people here tonight, and maybe more lurkers. And we got Alaska Jeff with us here. But yeah, that.
AJ works with dogs, just so you know.
Oh
I've
yeah.
interacted with AJ quite a bit in the past, and so he's a good fella.
Oh
He
cool.
works with dogs a whole lot.
Oh, that's good to know. I did not know that. Well, wonderful. Well, welcome everybody. Glad you all are here tonight, and hey, all right. I will let you continue, Jeff, with this because there's so much with these animals. I mean, it's like you said, it's nice to see the animal human interaction with this, and uh, it takes on. Do they say about how long it takes to train a sled dog?
It takes a few months.
Hmm.
Um, and many times the dogs will teach each other along the way. And you want to make sure that you choose the best dogs for the journey. And you'll usually have a couple dozen dogs to choose from. Uh, at least modern day, you'll have a couple dogs to choose from. Uh, we went to up to one of these. I don't know what you'd call it. I think it's something like a ranch where they have dogs and they have all these dogs in these little tiny kennels. Uh, they have chains on them because if these dogs can roam around, many times they'll get themselves into trouble. And so they'll
Mm-hmm.
be chained up in this yard, and then they'll come back and they'll grab a couple of them. They'll take them on out on the trail because if they don't have them chained up, all these other dogs are going to follow them out on the trail.
Oh
And so
whoa.
then you're going to have a whole herd a whole pack of dogs just going with you everywhere. And so Yeah, you have to
Right?
be careful about stuff like that.
Yeah, I can
And then you
just
come
picture.
back and then you'll take some of them and you'll take them over to a dog park that's at the area. There's a lot of interaction that happens with these dogs. It is a full-time job
Hmm.
and they have usually teams of people all interacting with these dogs every day.
Wow, that's interesting. So, yeah, I guess he's got another question here about, can you speak on the hunting tactics of the dogs on their breaks? What are the breaks he's referring to?
So I believe he's referring to the breaks in the terms of that when they have to pull over to the side. I think that's what he's referring to.
Okay.
Um, these dogs, you do not want them to have a hunting tactic. You want them to come to the musher for food because with all that muscle, all that adrenaline in these dogs, these things will go for miles and miles before they realize that you're not there. And so you can imagine if you're out on the trail and you lose your lead dog because he sees something and wants to go hunting,
Hmm.
you don't want that. So you want to have them plenty fed, and so you bring them a whole lot of fish
Hmm.
on the trip. Uh,
Wow. Hey, no, hey, about no, there's no, this channel specializes in squirreling and stuff. So honestly, if there's something of interest in it, it's related because we're talking about the Alaska snow. We'll hit it a little bit and we'll get moving on. But we like taking side trips and detours on this channel. Wait till you see one of my late night streams with friends, and we're all over the place. One night we said we covered about 30 topics in about 3 hours. So, but yes, but this is fascinating learning more about these wonderful animals and the human animal interaction there, though.
mhm.
Um,
And
now,
they're nice dogs. For them when you interact with them because they are completely comfortable with the mushers. They're comfortable with most people that come around them.
mhm.
Um,
Now let
and
me ask you, like,
sometimes I got to say, on a
yeah,
side note, you got to be careful though with these dogs,
mm-hmm.
but not for the reasons that maybe you think, because they're overly trusting.
Oh,
And
okay.
so there was one guy, I saw a homeless guy walking around with a very beautiful dog. And I thought there's something off with that. He and me and some other guys were talking with him and you're like, hey, what's up with your dog? This is a guy that was his brain was melted by weed. And so he was trying to
Mm,
talk with us. And he's like, yeah, my dog's like him and I have been talking and he doesn't want to go back to prison. And he was talking to me about how terrible it was and how he just wants to get back to his family. Really, your dog's telling you all this stuff, huh? And he's like,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. In fact, he actually told me about you. Yeah, yeah. He says that you're a very nice fella and he wants you to know that. We look over the dog
Yeah.
and we see this scarf around his neck. Oh yeah, that scarf's there for to keep him nice and warm out here in the snow.
Oh,
We distract him, look at underneath it, and it's a mushing dog and it has a tag collar. He had walked up and he had stolen a prize dog. It turns out they had been hunting for that dog for 3 days and they could
mm,
not find him. And so he walked down to the to one of these places where the dogs were on display, just saw one of them chained up, reached over, grabbed it, and walked off with it, just because the dog was
really?
trusting. And that dog was a
Wow.
bit shaken. And so the moment that we took the dog away from him, the dog got so happy about it, and the dog
Hmm.
was delivered to the place where he was supposed to be, which was 40 miles away.
Wow.
And so it's like he must have grabbed him during for rendezvous. And so it had been a couple of days that dog had been missing. And they had just given up. They just thought he ran off.
Wow, that's interesting. Did the dogs just run off, or is it usually human intervention?
It's because they're fairly well looked after and because they have such a strong bond with the mushers, is usually because someone interacts with
Mm,
them and comes up and steals them. So that's why you
right.
want to also watch out for them. That's why you have to be careful about them, not because they're going to run off naturally, because they have that bred out of them in that sense and
Hmm.
trained out of them. You have to worry about someone coming up and taking the dog.
Interesting. I was also going to ask you about, are they like service animals? A lot of times people say with service animals, don't touch them, don't pet them. If you see them, do you not walk up to just pet them, or?
Out of consideration, you don't pet them unless the dog is brought to you.
Hmm. Awesome.
Think of it as that it's being trained to be loyal. And if you try and break that loyalty, that's kind of a bit of an insult, you could say, to the musher.
Right. Well, let me let you have a breather for just a second, but I want to say thank you to Abomination AJ for the new subscriber to the channel. Yay! Thank you for subscribing here. We hit 524 again. We hit 525, so we have a habit of going up and down and playing yo-yos. But hey, thank you for the sub tonight. We appreciate it very much. So, let me go with another meme here while Jeff is getting a little break. We talk dogs. Here's a dog one for you. Some fat dude tried to break in last night, and I chased him away. Hey, he's just protecting his house, his castle, property, how that goes. So, and while I'm gonna spring another little announcement in because one thing I want to let people know is to also seeing some new faces and around. This is our weekly lineup this week. Start tonight. I was obviously kicking off with Chilling with Alaska Jeff tonight, talking about Alaska snow and Christmas. Tomorrow night, we're going to hit Die Hard with Daisy Blossom at 8 o'clock. And we're even going to include, is it a Christmas movie or is it not a Christmas movie? Come and opine and engage in the debate and your memories of this great, wonderful movie. On Thursday night, we have our second holiday edition with Squeak Mouse, who we did one last year and one of the first of the non-Fortnite, non-football streams that we had last year in the channel's history. So getting a repeat this year with her for that Thursday night. Looking forward to that. Saturday, the missus and I will be building a gingerbread Millennium Falcon at some point. But then on Sunday, on Christmas Eve, we got the great Master Maniac Mexico that's going to be with us at 3 p.m. on Sunday, celebrating a German Christmas, complete with a meal and games. And Mrs. and Dad Man will have to play. You might see our hands a little bit that night. So make sure you plan to join us for that coming up. All right. With that, Jeff, we will move forward. Oh, man. Reindeer Stable. This Skates for Rent, Skate Power, Reindeer. Is this a house or a barn or what do we have here?
This is a typical Alaskan decoration.
Beautiful.
So what you see here is kind of what happens to Alaska during winter. Because you mentioned earlier that you want to see how Alaskans celebrate Christmas. And I was trying to rattle my brain because we don't have a whole lot. We don't have like big fancy parades. We don't have these big, huge festivals and whatnot. A lot of our effort gets put into other things like the Iditarod and whatnot during winter.
Mm-hmm.
But I did realize as I was kind of going all over the place, I realized that what we have up here is lights. We have lights everywhere. And what's more, during the winter, these lights are beautiful because the snow piles on top of them and it just illuminates them in such magical ways. You'll go down the street and you will find a tree that is half covered in snow, but all the snow is illuminated because of the lights underneath. Alaskans love Christmas lights. During October, they break out the lights and they don't go away until February. It is absolutely beautiful when you're going around. And when you come home and you had a stressful day, and it's like you have the warm colors everywhere just to welcome you back. And Alaskans get a little bit creative with some of their decorations. They'll find a tree out in the middle of nowhere, set up lights for no reason.
Oh, wow.
And yes, I have seen this in multiple locations. There's one on the side of the road. You just see this little tiny Christmas tree. It's like, what's that thing doing out there? Someone took a battery pack, a solar panel, and decided to set it up.
Battery. That's what I was going to ask about, power to it. So absolutely. So, that's cool.
So yeah, we have a lot of lights up here.
Yeah, they put a lot of lights on that tree too. They didn't skimp on the lights. None of them. So like this bottom one, the bottom left here.
Mm-hmm.
That's just amazing. So
Absolutely. But one of the other things that we have up here is winter activities. And I remember when this happened and this appeared in the news. People love to get creative with their festive winter activities. And doing things like this is pretty high on their list. We drove by this when I was a kid, and I remember looking up and just realizing how giant this thing was. I've not seen anybody trying to break this record as of late.
whoa.
But yeah, they get the. We have everything in the state is big, including our snowmen.
That oh my god, that's like, how do you build that? I mean, unless you had a snow plow or something. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of
I got
snow.
no idea.
Wow. Jeez.
We also have smaller things. We have a center, a theater down here in town that they have Tuba Christmas, where they have all the tubas in the area come out and play. I understand this is kind of a popular thing in some cities. We tend to have that. So it's not anything too noteworthy to write home about. But the whole city starts to look like it's on one giant Christmas display because of how many lights are in the city. We have a lot of power consumption for lights. We have a lot of heat as well, but we have a lot of insulation, so we can spend more of that power on more lights, or at least that's what I kind of like to think about.
Can I ask a quick question? What is a typical? Well, I didn't even hesitate, so I was going to ask it anyway. What is a typical heating bill in a winter for up there? And I guess, is it all electric, or do you use combination electric, gas, wood fires?
So some people have wood stoves. From the Klondike era, I showed the pictures earlier. When those people were moving up here, they had to be very careful about the temperature, because when you get to the interior, it gets frigid.
Mm-hmm.
There's some areas in the interior that can get to negative 40 or negative 70 degrees Fahrenheit.
Wow.
So you got to be careful. So stoves are the most reliable thing. Or you have a situation like mine. I don't turn on the heat because the apartment's hot water
Right.
actually warms up the apartment, and so I don't ever have to worry about it.
Oh, that's cool. You see, yeah, we're kind of like polar bears around here. It doesn't get cold here very often either. But we just don't run the heat and use extra blankets or covers and stuff. So, but yeah, so you have to, but of course with that you also have to worry about you have to deal with carbon. I mean, not in your case, but wood stoves and all that. You have to have ventilation and all that, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
But it's relatively benign when you think about it compared to how clean the air is.
yeah,
It's not like we have London up here. It's not like everybody has a wood stove.
yeah.
Usually, if you have a wood stove, it's because you're off grid and you're
Gotcha.
away from any sort of natural gas or things like that.
Yeah. And by the way, Steve is asking, for that matter, what does a gallon of milk cost?
Generally, if you want the cheaper brands, you get it for $4.50.
That's actually not. That's actually about what we pay down here now.
Prices have gone down for Alaskans over the years. Once upon a time, it would have been much more expensive. Now, if you want the higher brands, if you don't want like the super cheap stuff, you're having to pay about $6.50.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But yeah, for the most part, the prices have normalized, and I've been very grateful for that until more recently when the prices started going up, and suddenly we realized, oh dang, this is not looking so good.
Well, that's interesting. So, well, that's a surprise. So we have here another Alaskan creative putting a star into the snow on this side of that mountain.
Oh yeah. So this thing is like 50 feet across, if I remember right. No, it's not 50. It's more like maybe 150. Um, you can go up there during the summer and see the lights. And during the winter, this thing turns on, and it is a constant sight for many of us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when I would go to my grandparents' house as a kid, there was a couple of things that I remember very vividly. I remember uh, the Christmas tree in the living room. I remember my grandfather sitting next to the window reading his newspaper. And I remember seeing the star outside of the window as the sun was starting to come up over the mountains. So,
Hmm.
this is a very common sight for Alaskans. You do want to be a little careful of your lights, though. You
Mm-hmm.
don't want to potentially uh,
Oh boy.
agitate the wildlife, just out of consideration, you know.
Mm.
Now, are these lights going to stop this moose from going about his way? Not really.
Yeah.
But if you get too much, then yeah, they could become entangled, and that would be bad.
So Jeff, like you said, be careful with your lights. I guess there are proper ways to string them and stuff. Well,
Yeah.
what would you say about somebody like this? So this is probably a no-no here. Then this might be a field day for the moose, right?
Oh no, that's that's a bit overkill.
Well, actually, believe it or not, we actually had one of these in our neighborhood once. We actually, it was a corner house it was a rental, and we called it the kids named it Plastic City because, I kid you not, it was not a big yard, but like shoulder to shoulder, there stood a plastic ornament, lit up ornament in every square, every like foot in that whole yard. It was corner to corner, so full of plastic decorations that lit up and all. It was like, oh my gosh, this is actually it truly was this in real life. It was amazing. So, but yeah, and hey, Jess, good to see you, Jess. How are you tonight?
Greetings, Jess.
We're still talking. We got Alaska Jeff here with 12 of y'all watching. Make sure you follow us on Twitch, subscribe, and like this on the YouTube side. But hey, we're hanging out, starting our Christmas week celebration. Perfect timing with the moose and the lights. And like you said, the moose like to come around and hang out with the people, kind of like a land version of the Little Mermaid, except they can actually walk. Uh, you know, so they get into stuff. This is not unusual between getting in the lights. They get other stuff, right?
This doesn't happen too terribly often, but this does become a bit of a problem. I have heard about it a few times because moose are living among you. You look out your window and there might be a moose in your backyard. It
Mm.
is very common. So here's this thing the size of a horse that can kill you in a moment. And it's just going about its life. It doesn't really want to be bothered by you, doesn't want to, for the most part. Some of them are aggressive, and you got to be careful of that. But
Mm-hmm.
you don't want to put lights in an area where they can get tangled. So basically, don't put them in areas that a moose is going to walk. You can put them on a tree, but make sure it's not in like the main fairway of your property.
Mm.
So maybe you've heard about a place that's a little further north of us,
Oh
something
yes.
called North Pole, Alaska.
Okay.
Now, I've not been there before, but I've heard things about it, and it's a unique place. If you notice on the uh, the seal right there in the middle of the screen, you see a fighter jet in the background. Even up in the North Pole,
Oh yeah.
they deal with the U.S. military everywhere. The U.S. military is a huge presence in this state, and honestly, it's been a great part of it. It has helped to stabilize a lot of the state. Um, I know some people might not be so keen about it in their regions, but we have so many military people up here, so many retirees that they came up here, fell in love with the place and retired up here. It has been a huge part of our culture. And honestly, I don't think Alaskans really realize how much of our culture is tied to the U.S. military. But I was reminiscing on some of the things that we do up here in Alaska. And, um, so much of it does revolve around it to the where I would dare say it could be argued as being maybe about 10-20% of our culture up here, just surrounding the military.
Well, historically, Alaska's always played pivotal roles. I mean, you had even in World War II, two and Kiska were invaded by the Japanese. There were several battles out through the Aleutian Islands, but not just that. Even the Cold War, as close to the proximity between Alaska and the Soviet Union, caused a lot of tensions and stuff. And and the sale from the Russian government many years before that. So Alaska's always played a big role in, I guess, the international geopolitical uh, uh, landscape, and of course the military's up there with that. In the first and forefront. Anytime you have politics and international relations, the military will be there. So I'm not really surprising to hear that, but the missus actually wants hearing about retirees there. The missus always told me, go get go get a job with Alaska Auditor's Office, and move to Alaska.
Like I said, a lot of people, when they move up here, even
Mm-hmm.
just for a short time, fall in love with the place and they immediately come back. My dad was one of those people. But you ready for a real shocker?
Sure. Let's get a real shocker now.
There was combat up here during the Civil War.
What? Really? In
Yes.
the U.S. Civil War?
So you have to remember the US was the dominant whaling nation in the world. The Confederates thought, hey, this is a good way to interrupt their economy. And so they actually sent a naval vessel up here to attack whaling ships.
Yeah, that makes. Well, it kind of makes sense in a way because if you figure out with the Civil War how much it became a militia type fight in a lot of areas, like
Mhm.
there were some small battles in New Mexico, uh, and Missouri, Missouri, Kansas, the border wars and stuff like that. A lot of it was like local militia, local setups like that. So of course, with your sympathies on each side, that could make sense up there that it could happen. But like you said, if you want to attack a government like that, why not do that? Of course, you're sitting there now. But nowadays, with the hindsight of history, you're sort of thinking like, exactly how much is that going to affect the U.S. government? You know, you
Mhm.
kind of wonder about. But hey, you never know.
Well,
But
you have
yeah,
to remember whaling ships back in the day, one hull worth of whale oil could be as much as $1 million. So it's basically attacking their treasure fleet.
yeah. You know what? I'm putting some in the private chat so that we can remember. But I'll say it to everybody. That could be interesting to look at the military history of Alaska because, like I mentioned, we know the obvious in World War II. We also know, the tensions in the Cold War and stuff. But hey, not knowing something like that, you could really have a lot of interesting stuff and really learn a lot with that. I had no clue about that, Jeff. No
Yeah, I
clue
only
at all.
just learned about that recently. I was like, "What in tarnation?" I had to look into it a little bit.
That's the one war I would never have expected Alaska to have been involved because it wasn't a state either, but just that's how worldwide the U.S. Civil War was. I mean, there
Mhm.
was even uh, you know I think you had a case where one of the rebel ships ended up going to surrendering in London. It's so you can have actions everywhere, but that is kind of interesting to see that it happened way up there. And wow, hey, things you learned tonight.
Yep. And actually,
But
it's interesting. During that time frame, that was when Russia was trying to sell Alaska to the U.S.
mm-hmm.
So it's like, huh? What irony? Here we were, like whaling out off the coastline, up around the Aleutians, and here comes this Confederate warship, and at the same time, the Russians are trying to sell it. So
Hmm.
that's when Alaska's history really began with the U.S. So up here
Very,
at the North
very
Pole,
interesting.
um,
Oh man.
we have a unique culture up there, as I understand. Again, I've not been there before, but if you are somebody who looks like Santa Claus, you could very well go and be a part of a lover celebration that takes place up there.
Yeah, looks like a lot of hugging and smooching going on. All right. But that's neat.
It's kind of hard to see, but there's a picture at the top right. It's an ice sculpture that says North Pole,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little kid with his with his tongue stuck to the pole.
Oh gosh. Oh, that's too funny. I kind of like that scene out of A Christmas Story.
Mm-hmm. So that's actually very. Now I'm going to warn you
Mm-hmm.
to anybody who wants to come up to Alaska or any northern region, do not do this.
Yep.
You will lose your tongue. And when I mean lose, I mean all the way back to the back of your throat. That
Mm.
it is that dangerous. And people have ended up in some serious agony because of that and some
Wow.
serious damage from that.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's a joke in the rest of the country, but you're not dealing with sub-negative temperatures that are going to not only freeze your tongue there, but actually start causing instant frostbite and refuse to let go. So,
And I guess you can't just add water to unfreeze it then.
no, the water will freeze to your tongue, make an ice casing around it. That's how cold it is.
Mm. Absolutely. So, well, at least let's see. At least Abomination AJ says noted. He's noted that. That's good. Do not try this at home, kids. Exactly. But that, yeah, because like you said, it's a comic, it's a joke, it's been memorialized in that movie, A Christmas Story. Uh, you know that, but yeah, it's something you definitely do not want to do. Do not try this at home type thing. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. But of course, by the way, with that movie, A Christmas Story, did you ever like it?
I actually never watched it.
You never watched it. Well,
My
just turn.
my parents hated it, and
Yeah.
so I naturally came to hate it as well. I never watched it.
Well, I tell you what, go watch if you have TBS or TNT or something like that. Just turn it on when they do it 24 hours. I think on Christmas Day. It's like you'll know whether you really like it or hate it. You know, like the movie Fifth Element is one I grew to love over the years, because I watched it in little segments. I didn't like it at first, but I watched it in segments and grew to put the whole thing together and liked it. Christmas Story is still one of those. There's only a few scenes I care to watch in that one. So, but so all right, little side. You know, like I said, we take squirrels. We go sidetracking from time to time. Ooh, tubes.
So this is the most common winter activity we have: skiing and sledding. Sledding has really been becoming popular as of late. This is in an area called Arctic Valley. Beautiful area. And it's not the best sledding in the world. If you want the best, you go to Germany, to the Alps. You will find the best sledding down there. But here, it's pretty decent. And it's
Mm-hmm.
relatively close by. You got mountains everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And now I will say this: you do want to stick, if you're not a pro, and I mean a true pro, regardless of whether you ski or sled or snowboard, stick to the lanes.
Right.
There
And
are
good night,
people.
Steve. I just want to say
Oh
good
yeah,
night,
yeah, yeah.
Steve. We'll see you
No
later.
worries.
Yeah, thanks for coming and staying so long. So stay in the lanes. Is there a particular why do you want to stay into the lanes?
So I don't have. Let me pull up a picture of this because I forgot to grab this one.
Oh, no problem.
Because this is something that's not a whole lot of people know about. Copy that, and I'm going to exit out of this little screen here so I can add that in.
Bring it down for a second. Just let me know when you're ready. So.
Oh, that's not it.
Come on. Hey, Steve. Also, even if you leave it on, keep it running. Like we always say, Mark and I say about putting people late at night to sleep. Hey, it's okay. Go to sleep with the sound of our smooth, sultry voices, and we're good.
Indeed.
Yeah, of course, this guy's got the golden voice. You should have heard the time in Fortnite and he's narrating my unicorn blowing himself up at the gas station. That was one of the best play-by-plays ever. So, all right.
All right, I have it back here.
Okay, all right. Here we go.
Now, there are some people in this world. They have a map, a secret map that only professionals know about. And they have a detailed list of ridges. And they will plan out months in advance that they're going to go and ski mountains that have never been touched. They will fly hundreds of miles into the interior of a mountain range. A helicopter will drop them off on top of a mountain, and they will basically, on a prayer, hope that they reach the bottom. There are a lot of people that perish doing this. But those that do will mark off their name on a mountain, and this secret group of people will have all their maps say, okay, this person beat me to this mountain. I'm going to find a different mountain. But their goal is to ski every mountain in the world. And Alaska is prime real estate for that. So yeah, you will find people doing that everywhere across Alaska. All sorts of charters that will take people deep into the interior to allow them to ski, whether it's on a glacier or on top of a mountain. So yeah, that's why it's like amazing. You want to stay to the paths because we are in an area of massive mountains. And even on the ski slopes that we have down here, there's some pretty dangerous areas if you get off the beaten trail. And you might go off the side of a cliff and not realize it.
Oh, yeah, I could imagine very quickly, very quickly. It's always the thing with the thrill seekers and stuff like that. It's the rush of the challenge. But, man, I mean, many of these places also have never been navigated or charted or either, right? They're really hitting it for the first time blindly.
Well, no human being has ever touched these mountains, like even going back into the Stone Age, because these mountains many times are cut off by ice fields. There's an ice field up here in the Alaska Ridge. It's one of the biggest ice fields in the world. It's nowhere near as big as like Greenland or Antarctica, not like that. But for a place that's outside of the main Arctic circles, that's substantial. And my family drove by it earlier this summer, and we just look up and we see this massive mountain range. And you look back and you see the snow reaching deep, deep into the interior. And this area was called, in part, it was called the armored underbelly of Alaska because these mountains are impassable. And so because it's impassable, that means that to all the skiers, hey, no one's been there. I can be the first.
Oh,
and then they just have to hope that their body can be recovered should something go wrong.
Yeah, that's what they say with the Himalayas, with the Everest is, they just, it's pretty much that's where you stay. I don't know. Abomination AJ. Have y'all seen the video of the guy skiing downhill followed by an avalanche, did a flip? I've seen quite a few videos of people skiing downhill, but it's always scary when you see that mountain of snow and ice coming down after somebody like that. I don't know that I've seen this particular one though. Depends on when it was.
I think I've seen it, but yeah, there is a lot of really dangerous ones. And actually, I think I might know the one that Abomination's mentioning about. That actually did happen to one of these people that was going into the interior. He thought the snow was sturdy, and then an avalanche came after him, and he had to ski as fast as he could to get away from it. And when I say ski faster, basically that means make sure you're not turning anywhere, that you just let gravity pull you down as quickly as possible. And you can reach very quick speeds.
Yeah. You just pray there's not a tree or other objects in front of you and just have an unobstructed run down the hill.
Yeah. The worst thing that you can come across is a
Mm-hmm.
crevasse, like an ice crevasse. You see that in the middle of the picture, actually. I don't have a picture of this, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you about this fantastic picture
Yeah,
later
go
on.
ahead because go
This
ahead because
crevasse right here.
I'm going to bring something up in a second. But go ahead.
Okay, so these crevasses are deep. We're talking hundreds of feet deep, and you look at this and you just see a little wrinkle in the snow, and you're like, "Oh, that's nothing." You put a person next to it, and you realize that you could fit a battleship inside some of these things, and you're just and so if you ski next to this and you fall down it, there's no getting you out. Um, and so there was a guy, he was flying over one of these ice fields, and he sees a moose sticking out, surrounded by all these ice fields, but in all these crevasses, and he's just wandering out there and just going about his merry way. He thought it was a once in a lifetime thing. He saw it two more times in his life, and he took a photo of them. I don't have photos of them, but he showed us these photos, and it was fascinating. But anyway, that comes to the end of all my slides. Thanks for letting me share on that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because there was something I want to share real quick. I just need a second to bring this up because we talked about snowing and skiing and all that other stuff. So let's see. So if y'all have questions for Jeff, feel free. Whether it's about the dogs, Iditarod, other things. Now we had talked about a little bit about not necessarily everybody up there celebrates Christmas necessarily, or but there may be other local traditions. How do all the maybe the more um, native type of traditions and celebrations factor in around the holidays, around the Christmas holiday, or do they?
So interesting, you just should mention that. There's not a whole lot of Christmas traditions for them. They tend to have a few more. They're like one of the. Um, they are a true holdout for traditional native pagan beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
and so a lot of them have still hold on to these traditions. So you don't necessarily see them doing anything that's related to the seasons in terms of festivals. They tend to have their festivals revolve around the around things like hunting or the solstice, things like that. So if you go further up north, one of the things that they'll do is they have a I forget the name of it, but it basically is a celebration that is revolves around whale hunting. And so you'll have things like that taking place. But during Christmas, they're like, well, we want to get in on this. And so they'll come bring all their native artwork so they can sell it to all the tourists. So you think, oh, this is a part of Alaskan Christmas tradition. No, it's just the natives that want to come and sell stuff because people are spending money.
Yep, and that happens. That happens. All right. Well, hey, yeah. Since we got some time here, we'll take a look here. Uh, I'm going to share. We talked about. See, AJ said about the guy skiing downhill followed by an avalanche. Well, guess what? We talked about bears and stuff like that. You know, hey, I got something for you too that came through recently. We I don't remember if it was on a night show or exactly where we had it, but it came on one of my chill streams. But folks, there's a story about a skier that's going downhill who avoids a bear. You remember? You might remember it, Jeff, because you were in the chat that night.
Oh yes.
Oh, So with this, so here, let me see. Won't have the sound, but here, folks, let's see. I hate that they blurred out the sides, but this is the best thing I could find on a quick notice. So you will see this, right? And there's the bear coming up. It's going to be on your left. And then, whoa. Now, it was just said it was a cub somehow, but you figure that's about a 2 or 3 year old bear, right?
Probably. It's a younger one. So bears, the older they get, the less likely they are to be awake during winter. The younger they are, their bodies haven't quite kicked in for them to know that they need to sleep. They kind of want to go about and kind of keep staying awake. They do not want to go to bed. So I'm guessing that's probably what happened, or he woke up early. That also can happen. But he's a fairly small bear. Like our black bear up here are bigger than him.
But still hitting something at that with that size at that speed would not feel good. It'd be like the agony to defeat from ABC, Wild World of Sports.
Oh yeah, very much so.
Take a look again. Here it goes. Whoa!
I'm just glad he didn't try to attack somebody.
Yeah, I know. Probably maybe a mature. I don't know. That was interesting. So, I'm sorry. I just love that. I just love that video. So, it's just like you don't see this. Of course, everybody else is like, "What the heck is that?" You don't expect to see wildlife running through there like that. So, but that's all.
Fairly rare.
Good to see. Yeah, AJ's asking, how far are y'all up on Santa's delivery route up there? Are y'all like one of the first? Hey, we got 14 people with us hanging out with us. Thank you, folks. Make sure you've hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We got a new subscriber tonight. Thank you, AJ, for that. I actually got a YouTube notification for a subscriber for once. So, but hey, if y'all got questions for Jeff, like AJ's throwing out here, fun questions, serious questions, we got some time. Feel free to share it with us. And so, how far are y'all up on Santa's delivery route, Jeff?
Well, like I showed the picture earlier, we're pretty close to him in that sense. It's not quite the true North Pole. This is like the vacation home,
right?
But actually, it is kind of funny. I forgot to mention this earlier, but one of our Christmas traditions is actually related to Santa Claus and his deliveries, and it's also related to our military. Because in the military, they have like, hey, we're going to help make sure that Santa has like safe travels and whatnot, and so they kind of make a big to do that he's coming from there, sort of. It's been a while since I've heard about it, but it was something that they're kind of pushing for a while. So they actually will send letters to that region as well. So apparently, a lot of letters will come in from around the country and actually go to North Pole, Alaska.
Oh, that's interesting. So, yeah, because we have news stories down here, so about stuff like that. I still love this. This reminds me of Christmas Vacation, and that place in our neighborhood. So Santa Megatron's still with us. All right, we still got 13 people hanging out with us, and we got Alaska Jeff here talking about all things Alaska with us tonight. Let me pull this down. Let me go ahead and say this one more time too. Bring this script. This is tonight's the start of our Christmas week celebration. Hey, folks, holiday specials, it's in full force. I'm busy at work like crazy this week, and I'm busy at night too. So, hey, nothing like an hour power nap earlier tonight. We got the great Alaska Jeff with us tonight, talking about snow and Christmas today. Tomorrow night, Daisy Blossom will be with me. We're going to be talking about Die Hard, actually talking about the movie too, but also, is it or is it not a Christmas movie? Please join us for that. Come opine. Love to have a spirited debate and have a lot of fun with that. Then also on Thursday night, we got Squeaka back for the 2023 edition of the Dad Man Holiday Special. This will be the second year we've done a holiday special together. Last year, the first was probably the first non-football, non-Fortnite show that I did with a guest. So great to have Squeaka back as always. Saturday, the missus and I will do a gingerbread house Millennium Falcon. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a fun one with us to try to figure out logistics. Talking about logistics, listen, folks, and I'm serious. One of the most special streams that we will do in the channel This History will be this Sunday on Christmas Eve at 3 o'clock. I know people, you have families and stuff, but even if you watch it replay later, but if you're able to be here for that or any part of that, come by, say hello to a great friend of the channel, the Christmas Maniac Mexico, who's going to lead us in a traditional German Christmas. He'll share some stories. He's got a simple meal that's traditional, and he's actually got games for us, Jeff.
Ooh.
The missus is going to have to go to Walmart or somewhere and buy like stuff so that we can be prepared for the game. And as I understand it, people could win prizes. So you're not going to want to miss that celebration. It's really, really.
Well, I do love German Christmases, so.
Absolutely. So it's interesting. I'm really looking forward to learning a bit more about that myself. So, just to try to, we got a few more minutes. Actually, we got all the time in the world, but looking towards maybe going towards midnight. A few minutes. No sense rushing it, just in case there's something you can think of at the end. One thing is like seeing Santa places. Do y'all have? We talked a bit about the few cities. Most of the populations in different population centers, like Anchorage and certain big cities. Do y'all have a lot of shopping malls up there? How would people? I mean, are there places for people to go visit Santa and things like that too? Or
so we do have a couple of big malls. They're not. They've been on the way out. Sadly, and I
think they've been on the way out everywhere. Actually, yeah, I got you.
So Alaskans are already very isolated, and to have a central location that people could go to was actually really healthy for our culture up here, because you're going to be out and about for hunting, for fishing, for just because your cabin is further away, and it gave a central hub for people to gather. So the malls used to be bustling, very popular places to go. We have lost, I believe, 2 malls in the last 20 years. And it might not seem like too much. You have to remember, Alaska doesn't have a whole lot of these to begin with. So we now have one major one left, and it's kind of been struggling. And I hope it will be able to keep going. I'm going to be going there probably on Thursday or Friday, just because I want to do a little bit of Christmas shopping there, and also because I want to show support to that area, because I don't want that area to disappear as well. But you can go and get photos with Santa there, but a better place to go for many people is to go to the Captain Cook Hotel. And you can go down there to get a photo and also see the last year that they're going to have their gingerbread village.
Oh man, that's horrible.
Yep, we're losing a lot of traditions right now, and one of those is the gingerbread. So, yeah, granted, I will say it's not the best gingerbread village that could have been made, but at the same time, it was still something, and to lose it is a bit disappointing. I remember it as a kid. I remember them having like a train system merged together with it. It was very nice. And so to see that disappear, and they haven't had it being very elaborate for a long time, but no one really has risen to carry on the tradition. And it's a bit of an expensive thing, of course, to make. So hopefully it will be resurrected one day.
Absolutely. We're losing so many of those traditions, and it's like everywhere else with the malls. It truly is. It's happening like down here where we are. it just it is sad. That used to be the place where everybody went to see Santa. That's where you went to start Christmas. You'd hear the Christmas music. You had the lights indoors. Now, I mean, the malls that are making it like here are like the outdoor town, quote, town center concept, which of course down here is one thing, but yeah, in December, an outdoor mall up there, yeah, that's probably not the smartest idea. The and it is a loss of stuff. We have one of our traditional malls that used to be when I was growing up. It's truly a shell of itself. There's a few remaining businesses in it, and even the mall that's sort of doing good, that's still down and active. The two malls, they still struggle. I mean, I think more that they're able to survive the off non-holiday seasons because they are able to have enough foot traffic around by bound them, whereas like with the other mall doesn't have the foot traffic, and it just slowly died over the years as people left the neighborhood. So and I tell you one, but see the thing is, the problem with outdoor town concept malls, there's one in our town that basically is nice, and it's in the fancier areas. I mean, they got it highbrow, they got decorations, all this stuff, but the one near us, it's just like you couldn't even tell it's Christmas. There's no garland out, no lights on the sign, nothing. They had the white lights at the front of the thing where you pull in. It was like that, like 365-day lights, nothing special, nothing different, and just just it's like no biggie, and you're just like, hey, all right, but hey, it's good. Yeah, go ahead.
I feel like I remember as a kid, I remember there being decorations galore. And then I also remember something else. I remember hearing people complain and complain. They would look at the decorations and say, "It's not Christmas yet." And they would throw a fit. And now I see a lot of those decorations not even being put up, or I'm seeing half effort being put in. And I noticed the people that were complaining are now saying it doesn't feel festive anymore. And I was like, wait a minute, you were the same people that were like complaining about there being Christmas decorations earlier in the year. And so I feel like there was two things that happened. One, I felt like people kind of felt like Christmas was encroaching upon other seasons. And second off, I feel like people assumed that the decorations meant consumerism, and they decided to alienate it in a way because they just assumed that it was a business ploy, not realizing that there was an actual tradition behind it. A tradition that technically reaches back to the 1400s. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, in which it began, you could say, in Germany with Martin Luther. So that's where that's where the very first Christmas tree comes from. And that's where we get putting lights on the tree. So you could say having lights and decoration, it reaches back to that era. And it's only gotten bigger since then, of course. You had England's contribution, which was huge. And then we have America getting involved with it. And then we see businesses trying to capitalize off of it. And it's almost like the traditions of where people would have naturally been making their own decorations or festive look for their residency. We surrendered it to businesses, and then the businesses stopped providing it. And we're like, wait a minute, what happened? And I was like, I feel like we need to embrace it again, but I feel like we need to do it again, small scale. And part of it means not to go through. And this is my bit of my rant here is that I feel like we're relying too much on things that require mail ordering, and thus we don't really put too much effort into our local community, whether it's decorating our homes or going down to our local malls or even just paying attention to our neighbor. I feel like so much has become digital that we are forgetting to live in the physical.
Exactly. Well, we've had that problem, excuse me, in some of our small towns here, especially where the local mom and pops are there, and then the big industrial store. I'll just call it that instead of using a specific name. Uh, you know, comes in, and then basically all the local mom and pops dry up. There's no business for them. And I'm kind of like you with that. It's to try to support local as much as you can, because we are like we got a hardware store up at the front of the neighborhood. Like you know, so it's like we try to go there as much as we can.
The most festive place that I know up here in Alaska is a little trinket shop here in town. And I go to the coffee shop right next to it. So every time I go there, there's decorations galore. And it's beautiful. But it's the only place.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, with our mall out here, it's like, God, you wouldn't even recognize it as a mall, because you wouldn't even think it's Christmas. Outdoors, so you don't hear the music, but it's not even just that. There's just nothing, no ambiance, nothing, no lights. It's just dark. It's just a normal day. Hey, since we still have a few minutes left, we still got 11 people on the Twitch, on the YouTube side. Let's throw a quick poll out here, folks. Please vote in, even if you're lurking. Hey, here's the question: when do you start decorating for Christmas? And a study kind of caused this to happen and come up, because it's never too early to start decorating. However, that's also a thing of debate. Some people will start before Halloween. Others will debate. Gotta get past Halloween and start before Thanksgiving. Of course, your major theme parks do that, because, dear Lord, if we don't get past Halloween, do you start? See, to me, do you start after Thanksgiving, or do you not celebrate your bah humbug and stuff like that? And I personally, to me, my thing as always, I raised my kids as a kid, as I saw it myself. Christmas did not start until the end of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade on NBC, and Santa Claus made the appearance at the very end of the parade. That's when, okay, you can start decorating the tree, you can start singing your songs, even that god-awful Mariah Carey song. That is, to me, Jeff, how do you view it? I mean, what are some of your personal traditions, and when do you start decorating or celebrating?
So if I had my choice, I would decorate before Halloween.
Oh, really? Okay. Very interesting. Why is that?
So I will be the only one probably voting that in the poll.
Okay.
Well, so remember what I said about Alaskans decorate earlier in the year for their lights?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's because the snow comes. Do you really want to remove the snow from your roof to put up your lights? Do you really want to shake your tree trying to get the snow off to put up your lights? It's going to be freezing out there. Do you really want to be out there when your fingers are freezing off to put up your lights? No, you put it up in October when you have the warmth, when you have the ability to easily do it, and then it's all there, good to go.
Wow. That's
And also because I love Christmas as well. I'm the type of fella that I think that I would probably drive some people crazy with how much I like it. But I'm not the person who's going to be putting it in your face constantly. I'm not going to be wearing festive attire everywhere I go. I want to be surrounded by it, but I'm not the one that's going to be doing the decorations most of the time.
Yeah, I understand. That's cool. See, we never had to worry about snow, so that's it's kind of except for one Christmas, of course. The one Christmas we got snow, and of course, that was the year that everything froze up. It was like, oh my gosh, it was hideous. So, all right, well, this poll is rocking. We got 12 people here watching, and 11 on that YouTube side. So let's see. I'm curious to see. We got 5 votes. All right, come on, 6 more people. Y'all got to vote. Let's see how this goes. Currently, after Thanksgiving leads at 50% with 6 votes. Don't decorate, bah humbug, 33%. Oh my gosh, we got a lot of Scrooges out there. All right, and but I understand that, because it happens even around here at times. Before Halloween, right now you look like you are by yourself on that one.
I'm alone.
Hey, you're alone. Hey, Trailblazer. So, and Jess doesn't decorate. anymore. So, that's always the thing. Sometimes is the mess, the getting them out. And I remember that also as a kid. I love the lights and everything, but I sure as heck hated putting it all up. I sat back and let my sister, my mom, and all the other people. I delegated. I started delegating from an early age and
So
stuff like that. So that's
I got a suggestion for changing up the way we decorate for the holidays.
okay. Let me say
And
real quick to Jess. It's not Scrooge started dogs that climb and destroy. I thought it was just cats. I thought it was the cats that just destroyed everything. Because see, like this. Exactly. It's all about the cats. I now we got the dogs, so see, or you can put up a force field around your tree. Just use some tangerines. All right, go. Okay, so how would you decorate, Jeff?
so I would change the decorations. I would lose Santa. I would lose elf decorations. I would make decorations primarily vegetation. So things like wreaths, Christmas trees, fruit. Um, I would take a combination of Thanksgiving and Christmas, merge
Mm-hmm.
them together, kind of like what they did back in England.
Mm,
When they decorated for the holidays, they would decorate for months, you could
mm-hmm.
say. So they would decorate in November,
Wow.
prepare stuff for not their Thanksgiving, but for something else that was around that time frame of harvest, and then they would leave it up. Actually, it's kind of interesting when you think about it. In England, they don't have Thanksgiving, so they just jump right into Christmas
Right.
when they hit fall. So
Mm-hmm.
we have Thanksgiving, so we have an interruption, you could say. But if we were to merge the two, we'd have 2 months, and then I would suggest keeping the decorations around till January. Now,
Oh,
here's the reason why: because it's more
okay.
generic, because
Mm-hmm.
it's in that category, it will fit in better. And especially during the cold, darker months of the year, it helps to add some life and color to kind of help prevent the winter depression.
Mm, interesting.
I
Very
remember
interesting.
actually when we were down in Virginia, if I remember right, we came to January, and that was the most depressing month of all because all the festivity was over. There was no gatherings, there was no celebration. It was just over, and just the dreariness that would hang in the air, the darkness, no lights, no color. And it was like it was more depressing and dark than Halloween. And it's
Wow.
like,
Yeah.
what is wrong with this? And so I have never liked that month. That's my least favorite month of the year is January and early
Mm,
February.
mm,
But then I look back at traditions of like past generations before the 1900s, and they had festivities, they had festivals, and they all looked kind of like a traditional Victorian Christmas scenario.
mm.
So that's why I kind of view that we need something more to that because I feel like our late winter culture is missing.
Yep. Well, it's interesting. Y'all keep voting in the poll really quick because I just learned something. I always thought it was cats and stuff, but um, it's like Jess said here about the dogs that would climb and destroy the trees. AJ said the same thing. Have him decorated on his own. Plus the dogs coming and going around the holidays so they don't bother. Uh, you know, and two, when you separate from people and things, that does happen. But Jess says like basset hounds will climb and like to chew plastic. Wow, that sounds like the cats in Easter grass. But Jess said, yeah, my one idiot basset would have ate all the vegetation. It switched to fake from real because of the mutt drinking all the sugar water in the real tree. Oh my gosh, that is something.
So that raises something I was going to ask. Have you heard where glass ornaments come from for the
No,
tree?
I have not.
So this goes back to again Martin Luther. Martin Luther put fruit and vegetables into the tree that he had picked for his family. He put candles on it, then he put fruit and vegetables. The reason why is because there was a play that came out during the Middle Ages, and it was a play about Adam and Eve in paradise. And so he wanted to show that this tree was basically almost as if it had been plucked out of the Garden of Eden. So he put fruit on it. And then they're like, well, the fruit's going to go bad. So they started putting glass ornaments on instead that looked like fruit. As I understand, that's where it came from.
Wow, that is it's interesting, where you find out the starts of so many different things. So, you know, I did not know that. Let's see, we've got 6 votes still. We got 10 people watching, so 4 people need to vote.
We need backup over here before Halloween. Help.
Exactly. Yeah, vote. I always like joking about vote early, vote often. So that's a great silly throwaway line. So hey, yes, exactly. Jeff is one of the most intelligent guests ever and around. He's got so much knowledge. Exactly. So definitely useful knowledge too. So
you should meet some of my family members then, because I get a lot of my factoids from them.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. I mean, it's funny. It runs in the families, I'm sure, very much so. And thanks for putting Jeff's Twitch link up over on Twitch. Catch Jeff there. So Jeff said, I had a neighbor who preserved gingerbread cookies for ornaments. We used to use popcorn strings sometimes. Yes, I've heard and seen about the popcorn strings. So exactly. So, all right. Well, I'll look at I'm going to do one more. Let's see, give people a few more minutes to vote. Jeff, I'm going to let you say anything else you want to talk about tonight? Anything Alaska driven, anything personal driven, or?
There is one thing I do want to mention that's still related to winter in Alaska. When you're driving around and there's a cliff on one side, be careful. Because there's the possibility there's someone ice climbing up that cliff.
Oh, yes.
So we have a lot of water up here. I already mentioned that. We're the land of 3 million, and that's a rough estimate, 3 million bodies of water up here in Alaska. And along the road, we have a lot of springs. And so you will actually have these springs form ice waterfalls over the winter. And you will see people out there with their pickaxes climbing up these right next to the road. So if they fall right into traffic. You got to be a little cautious with it. But it's beautiful, beautiful water there. And oh golly, do I have a photo that I can show of one of these areas here? Because it is just so beautiful what happens with the ice. I went out photographing 2 years ago to do a photo gallery, and it didn't go so well for the photo gallery itself, but I got some really good photos, and some of them were related to winter up here. And I got to say, when you're trying to photograph and your fingers are freezing and the camera's shaking everywhere, it's a bit of a challenge.
Yeah. I bet.
Here's something else.
While you're looking for that, I'm going to show one more meme. Folks, you'll be seeing some of these memes repeatedly because these are too good of memes. But who likes brown nosers? Nobody literally likes brown nosers. But did you know Santa had another reindeer? Yes, it's Roscoe, the brown-nosed reindeer. Santa, anything else I can do, Santa? I'll stay late if you need me. Look at the grumpy elf and the other reindeer. Hey. These are some good. These are not bad. I've got a lot of other memes in reserve. You will see more tomorrow night and on Thursday. And I'm going to plug those shows again before we shut down. But hey, all right. Let me know when you're ready for me to pull up the screen, there, Jeff.
Yep. It's taking a while because these photos are pretty high resolution. So
okay. Yeah, I can tell. But yeah, we'll just.
All right. So here's the first one. So this is.
Are you ready for me to add it? Because I see.
Yeah.
What it sees your. Okay. All right.
Oh, never mind. What is it going on with that? That's weird.
Yeah.
Um, share screen. Why did it not do that? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
All right.
There we go.
Okay. There we go. All right.
So now this is a bit photoshopped, I will say. It was a very bad photoshopping that was done. But this is a common sight. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted Photoshop, because I couldn't get my camera out in time. So there was an eagle that was flying by, a raven that was flying by as well. By the way, ravens are everywhere up here in Alaska.
Oh, really? Okay.
Smart, intelligent birds. If you get a choice to have a parrot or a raven, get a raven. A raven will imitate your voice better than a parrot, and they have a sense of humor about them.
Really?
But they're also big. They're big birds. But so this is a mountain that's nearby, and you can see the frost, the snow and the frost that is built up on the trees, and just how they're hanging over. It all looks like someone just took frosting and just threw it up on the trees. It is so fake looking, but that's common. That's a common sight for up here. Another thing that you will see in the area is the arrival of waxwings. Do you know what a waxwing? Have you ever seen a waxwing before?
No, I have not.
Well, if you notice right here, you'll see a little piece of orange right there on the wing. That right there is a thread of wax that's coming off of the wing. Beautiful birds. This one allowed me to get fairly close before it decided to fly away. Here's another one. They fly in during the winter, and they will eat the berries off of these trees. And these things have bottomless stomachs. Look how big that berry is compared to that bird. And realize that this thing, when it's eating this, it is eating dozens of these things. And then look how small this bird is by comparison. By the way, look at all the little specks that got left on his beak from all the gorging it's been doing. But these things will eat maybe 3 or 4 times their body weight in berries in one setting. They're fascinating creatures.
Interesting. That photography is amazing to that detail to get that dusting on it. Man, that's something.
Much appreciated. Yeah, there's people up here though. They do so much better photography, and that's the problem. This is a state that's packed full of photographers. Yeah. So trying to get any real success is pretty difficult. This is another creature that is very common up here in Alaska. Spruce chicken. I was looking out my window, and this is just outside the window of the house. I was like, what is that pine cone doing back there? Oh, wait, it's not a pine cone. It's a bird. And these things are pretty big, too. It is the size of a chicken, and it will just sit in a tree.
Wow.
Eating pine cones. Looks like a pine cone, and then it'll mosey on its way. Okay, now here...
We still got 6 votes, folks. 4 of y'all, come vote. Actually, 3 probably. It's like... But hey, after Thanksgiving seems like it's going to be winning. I mean, maybe that's a tradition in a way.
So this is the picture I was trying to find earlier. Look at that cave of ice that is formed. And you can see the waterfall inside. It is such an incredible area here. And so you could actually climb up inside of it. That's a fairly big opening. I would say it's maybe 5-6 feet across. So yeah, you could fit in there comfortably. But this is the base of a much bigger waterfall, and I don't have the high resolution photo of the waterfall. But people will climb up stuff like this, and that's how they're forming. The water's just coming down, and they're climbing up it. Oh, and there's one more thing that you see all the time up here in Alaska. and that is bald eagles and golden eagles.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe this one right here is just a young gold eagle. Sorry, just young bald eagle because it hasn't had its coloration change yet. But very common sight up here as well.
So on the left is the younger one because it's
It still has the dark coloration. It's not gone
right.
bald. It's not gone bald, you could say.
Hey, if only humans go bald like that, they'd be a lot happier, you know. That's
Tell the
awesome.
difference
So
between Dad and Junior. Which one's
yes,
bald?
except in this case, Dad still got his hair. So a
Yeah.
squirrel. Hey, that's kind of like our unofficial mascot of the channel.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You,
because we
you got a
like with
banana and a
Hungry.
squirrel.
Yeah, because Hungry Boy, our late night squirrel streams. We don't we go in. We don't have a topic. We just bounce tree to tree and nut to nut. And hey, we one night like I said earlier, we counted up one night. We must have done 30 stories, 30 different topics, just bouncing from place to place. We'd follow the chat, and do things like that as we felt like it. So that
Well,
is also good.
this squirrel woke up in the middle of
Jess
winter.
did say dogs though are like having toddlers. So which snowman quest, Jess? Because I think I completed most of mine, but you know, I don't know which one it is. The problem with Fortnite right now is there's so many dang quests. It's like, how do you keep track of it? So anyway, okay,
Yeah.
squirrels. We got squirrels. Sorry, I squirreled there for a moment.
No worries. I was just going to mention that one day I woke up and was going about work around the house, and then I heard some scratching on the side of the wall. I was like, "What is going on?" I look outside and I see the squirrel running up. And apparently he woke up in the middle of winter and decided, you know what, it's time to go for a run. He just ran off, went about for a while, and came back to his home, which turns out was in the attic.
Well, let's say hello to CLS Studio. Hello. Not seen you around before, but hey, welcome. Good to see you here. I see a little Lego in the avatar. Hey, welcome.
Ooh, Lego. I'm big into Lego.
Well, Mrs. is big into Lego. I want to put her link right back out here because, Mrs. We'll get back into that in just a second. But the Mrs. does not only a morning show every morning at 9 a.m. Eastern, and where she your daily dose of positivity. So you want something different, just chill. One day I thought I was going to have to go. Oh, thank you, Jess. You beat me to it. I one day it was Sunday. I thought I was going to have to walk out there and help her survive her show because she started laughing uncontrollably and couldn't get it back together. It was hilarious. So, but the Mrs. also does build streams. She builds Lego brand and non-Lego brands. Other ones like Monday she had the shortest build stream she's ever had. It was like less than 2 hours of building a grizzly bear. Now Thursday she's got coming up. She's doing a Starry Nights based off a Van Gogh painting that Squeaka had donated or had bought. It's like, whoa, that's going to be a fun one. So you should have seen her separating the colors. There's so many colors of blue, or shades of blue. But hey, okay. Anyway, but so like I said, Squeaka told you about us. Oh, well, thank you. Thank you. Glad to have you here with us, folks. And Squeak is supposed to be with us Thursday night. So we'll go over the lineup. Sit back with us a little bit, and we're going to talk a little more, But thanks for being here. Make sure we asked, hit the like button if you like it. Subscribe. We appreciate the support. And, vote in our poll. We got a poll out there where we're asking, when do you start decorating? Before Halloween, after Thanksgiving? Don't decorate. Feel free to help us with this poll, and we will see what's going on with that. So, so far after Thanksgiving, we actually got a vote for wow, every category's got a vote now, Jeff. How about that? But hey. All right, Jeff, what are we looking at now here with this great picture? Is this winter still?
So this is late fall. This was very rare. Every winter up here is different, and it's been beautiful. Like I only have a camera every now and again to be able to work with. And so I've not been able to go around taking photos whenever I want or whatnot. So my photos are normally pretty bad. And so there's a couple times I can get my hands on a better camera. And this is one of those times. This right here was a beautiful fall day. And then we had a really early snowfall. And so it left this very unique look to the whole region. You had the contrast of snow and fall at the same time. I've not seen this coloration since. It was one season, and now this season has been incredibly white. There's snow everywhere. So yeah,
Yeah.
You never know what you're going to get with it.
No, that is interesting to see. I the closest thing we've seen was, like I said, this last summer with a trip into the mountains. Into Colorado, Wyoming, though. And it's just, there is something about those shades, about all those mixtures, the colors and thing. I agree with it. I love that photography, and that is amazing to see right there. It truly is. So, so what do we have now here?
So this is that same area that I showed earlier. This is my hands were shaking so much because it was so cold. That's why I started to just get the photographs, because I could not keep the camera still.
Okay. Roughly, what about the temperature is this right here where you are, if you had to guess?
Where I am right here, right at this moment, it was probably -15.
Okay. I was at the beach today in about 60-degree weather, about 20, 25 mile an hour winds, and my hands were frozen. So I cannot imagine how cold your hands were. So, CLS Studios says that I haven't gotten snow all December, even though I'm right next to New York. I'm sure it's coming. I'm sure it is coming. Oh, but yeah, so obviously you have to use gloves when you do this. How do you, I mean, that's got to be hard to have gloves on your hand. Or there's special gloves to wear? Because I know, like, baseball players, they have, like, baseball batting gloves. They're built certain ways to get grip, texture, and stuff. So are there regular, like, real photographer gloves?
There are, but I don't do winter photography enough. I was going to get them if the photo shoot, if the photo gallery had turned out well, but well, it didn't, and I was out more than $1,000 for the whole process. So I thought, I can't justify getting more gear for this. So I just threw away that and said, you know what, it's probably not for me.
Yeah.
But I had a lot of fun getting the photographs while I had the chance. And sometimes you come across areas that were just so beautiful from the sunlight, and the crystals would be glistening, and then you pull out the camera to take a photo and it wouldn't capture it. And that was the most frustrating thing. You'd be taking a photo and you think that it's going to be beautiful, and lo and behold, despite all the beautiful colors and the glistening, like right here, imagine the rainbow in every crystal. It just glistens, and you look like you're watching the something that is like the entrance to heaven, sort of, because there's so much color and beauty.
Yeah.
And then you take the photograph and you think, oh, this just looks like a generic winter photo. That's why you cannot experience Alaska through photographs.
Right.
You have to be in it to actually see the beauty. And
I say the same thing, like the Rockies with the mountains there. But let me say real quick to my guest Thursday night, Squeaka. Hey, how are you tonight? Good to see you. And yes, CLS Studio sees you here again. And thanks for shouting us out. And okay, off to take photos. Be safe out there at night. Hey, thank you though. Love to you, and thanks. And make sure you're with us Thursday night, everybody. We'll go down the rundown again. But thanks for swinging in here, and see you saying hi. Yeah, exactly. So, that, like I said earlier, that will be my first type of annual repeat. The holiday thing we did last year was my first non-Fortnite, non-football type of stream with a guest that's not family or related. So hey, so it's going to be a special time Thursday, but this whole week's going to be special. And we'll run down. I mean, Sunday's really going to be special, folks, with the German uh, Christmas. And I'll tell you what, Masters is not. Well, let's quote John Hammond from Jurassic Park: "Spared no expense." He's coming all out for all the bells and whistles on a great German Christmas. So absolute. So that, and this more the ice the
Hoarfrost.
okay. How do you spell that?
So basically like fear, horror.
Oh, Horror.
Problem is when you type that into the internet, it brings up a movie. And that's really awful because it's like if you want to show somebody what hoarfrost looks like, there's like one photo. So this is one that I took
Uh-huh.
years ago, and this isn't even the longest that I found. I
And
found
again,
ones that are 2 inches long.
and again, for the people that are late arriving or may have missed it, this is where you have the branch, but the ice is forming. It is actually reducing the humidity, and the ice is actually forming on the branch with the humidity that's in the air. Correct?
Absolutely.
Beautiful though.
Yep. And then of course, as you mentioned earlier, Alaskans, you would think Alaskans are immune to the cold and the snow. Well, in many ways we are. When it's a beautiful day out and it's freezing cold and people are sliding all over the place, everybody goes about their day. The kids go to school. Nothing's going to stop them unless it's several inches of snow to feet.
Mm-hmm.
And so you just got to be careful as you're driving around. Here's the Alaskan parrots, like I mentioned earlier, the ravens.
Or the ravens, yeah.
These ravens make the funniest sounds. They are so entertaining.
Really,
You could just sit on a bench and watch them all day and have endless joy from watching them.
We saw a couple up there in Yellowstone, though, on some of the ground. They were actually kind of interesting to look at. I wish that we had more time to have sat there and actually see it. So, oh, so I don't get this. I don't get Jeff. The pictures are stunning, but as a Texas girl, I can't go to Alaska on principle. Well, why not? It's like, hey, oh, yeah. Well, they are the biggest state technically landmass. So I don't know. It
We're
looks like
more
there's
than double the size of Texas. Texas is just a little tiny place.
well, like Texas, they always want to fight, and they know all their independence looks is coming out for a fight already. So, so Jess said, okay, hoarfrost, HOAR frost. Okay, Google images.
There we go.
Exactly.
Yeah. I must have accidentally typed it in wrong.
Yeah.
It's not like I go around spelling it too terribly often.
And I'm serious about this to see us CLS Studio saying here when he graduates going to Alaska, people saying it's awesome. Probably I've got to stay here a little bit longer for family reasons and stuff. But if I could actually get enough break of it, I might take the missus up on, she said, why don't you go become an auditor in Alaska? And we go up there. And I'm like, maybe I do. But the problem with me is, how do you survive in like -20, -40? How do you keep your pipes from freezing? How do you, I know you acclimate, but I've never understood like the Canadians, with stuff. It's like you hear about -40-degree temperatures, and it's like, yeah, I know that things happen, but how do you? It just seems like to me there's a point at which too cold is too cold, where nothing you can do works.
Well, the fact that there's no humidity in the air makes it a lot more bearable.
Oh yeah,
and
okay.
It really does. Now, if you dress the part, you're not going to be freezing. If you don't dress the part, oh yes, you're going to be freezing cold. But yeah, it takes
like down here.
intelligence.
It's like down here when you have the humidity in the summer, it is oppressive. If you can get a day with a less humidity, it's not so bad. It works both ways, both for the cold and the heat, because it's, oh man, try camping in Florida in September.
I remember September down in Florida. So yeah, I have a little bit of a understanding of what you're referring to. But yeah, so it's all about how you dress, how you prepare, and it's not a bad place if you learn to adjust. And took Americans a long time to adjust when they moved up here. And mostly is because we didn't have the right attire. Well, nowadays, you have a lot of people coming up here with a desire to want to dress in modern fashion. Modern
Mhm.
fashion is not a good way to go about Alaska. You're going to freeze and you're going to become part of the outdoor decorations because you're going to be a frozen popsicle.
Well, okay, so the dad man rule of dressing would not work then. Which my thing is just give me a jacket, get as long as my top I'm warm and comfortable. But I got to show my gorgeous legs, and I wear shorts everywhere, so that won't work.
Yeah, well, during the summer it will. During
Well,
the
I mean,
fall it will.
in the winter though, I mean, all I need is give me a good parka, and we should be good.
Well, no one's going to be able to survive the winter up here unless you're like mountain men. Those people can do it.
I think my wife will say I am not a mountain man, but hey, oh, so of course, we got the Battle of the States now. I've been to Iowa this last year. We went through Iowa. That's a kind of an interesting, just flat state, but Florida's awesome. But one of the understate, I've never been to Texas. I've never been to Massachusetts. There's stuff in Texas that I'd like to see with some of the battleships and some of the history stuff that they have. The Nimitz Museum, I think, is in Houston. So Mississippi's got a military museum also. But I've not been to New York or Massachusetts, but Mississippi is a state we've driven through. If you get a chance to do the Natchez Trail, it's a beautiful thing to do. Actually, last year, I'm part of this summer with the part of the things, so and part of the things with that we the Grand Gulf, we stumbled upon a few Civil War sites that we did not even know, and a beautiful state to drive through. Mississippi is a beautiful state to drive through if you have not done that before. And like I said, we went through, are going to cross Mississippi before for things, it's just a underappreciated state, cheap gas too. But hey, if you ever get to it, you got it. So, all right. And Jess asked, that have you said the car batteries inside Jeff?
Oh, yes, yes. So now they don't take them
How does it?
inside. What?
Okay.
So now we have a problem up here. Some vehicles, depending on the type of battery that they have, their battery will die in the cold weather. You want new batteries. If they get too old, they will stop working. Mine actually stopped working, or almost stopped working at the start of this winter because it was getting cold,
Mm-hmm.
and I found out that it was like, well, it could have gone for maybe another year down in the lower 48. It was going to die probably within the next week or two because the temperatures were dropping. The way that Alaskans get around it is we'll plug our cars in to electric outlets.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh,
so
okay.
I don't have an electric outlet, so I can't do that. I have to make sure that it can start by itself. And so I have had to go out and get a new battery, one that was properly rated for the temperatures that we have. And it's been fairly reliable so far.
Well, that's good. Yeah, because cold is hell on batteries. I mean, even here, it can do it when it's been cold for an excessive time. We yeah, but so yeah, you actually pull it in and you take it inside and keep it charged. Oh, that's interesting.
Well, it's not something you're going to see people really doing. That's why they'll plug it in. They'll
Yeah.
plug the car in to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a cable coming out of the front of the engine, and that's how you keep it from dying on you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is interesting. So it's different than so it's not an electric car. It's just the battery in your regular combustion engine. Hmm.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
again, mine's fine, but if we get down to like -20, then I gotta plug in my vehicle. Otherwise, the car is going to struggle, if not,
Yeah.
Start to get damaged because of it.
Yeah. Let's say Massachusetts is awesome. Haven't been to Mississippi, Iowa, Florida either. Just know people have. Yeah. there's some parts of Florida you don't want to go through the big cities because it's kind of yucky, boring, concrete jungle stuff. But yeah, there's parts of Florida really, really cool backwoods, really neat stuff. But Mississippi, Mississippi is a beautiful state with trees and stuff like that. I was more flat, no, just open. It was. I don't think there was anything at least we saw that was really glorious with that. Jess, Arizona, California, Ohio. I've never been to Arizona or California. Went to Las Vegas once. North Carolina is nice. I drove through Indiana, also up near Indianapolis, so that's interesting. CLS said, other than New York, I have not left New England. Oh wow. Hey, it's like a lot of people talk about traveling around the world. I don't. I've only left the U.S. once to the Bahamas, so hey, I don't travel. Actually, this summer with the missus was the first time I've actually traveled across country. I'm not sure how she did. And it was the first time we took a trip like that since we were married, which we're coming up on next month. We will be married 28 years. Wow. Hey, all right. So, hey, Jess said that I've had issues with batteries. If it drops minus here, I've had battery stop because I turned on my car while pumping gas. Wow. That's quick.
Ooh, my.
That's cold. That is cold. I will say, if it will freeze that fast, you're in trouble. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. So, all right. So, what have we got here?
So this is one of the mountains in the area.
Mm-hmm.
So some roads, you'll notice the ground. The ground is thawed out. There's no ice on it because the sun is still very strong. And if you put gravel, the gravel actually melts away the ice and snow.
Right.
Now, what I cannot really show you is what happens if you're to like turn the corner, because the side roads that are not pointed towards the sun like this are
Mm-hmm.
still completely iced over.
Right.
And we're talking about a depth of 6 inches to a foot of ice.
Wow. That's just amazing. I mean, and what is the elevation at these? We have not talked about elevation. We've talked about like latitude up towards the pole and farther north. We have, but in the Rockies we are Yellowstone we're like 9 to 10,000 feet. What is the elevation here too? Because that's another thing for temperature too. It's not just latitude, but your elevation.
So where I currently am, we're actually relatively close to the coast.
Okay.
So we're we're probably about a couple dozen feet above sea level.
Okay.
Top of these mountains are substantial. They're like the mountain that you see right there is twice the height of the Appalachians.
Wow.
And that's right. And this is the you could say the foothills of the mountains that are behind it.
Well, let's say hello to the Padawannabe coming in tonight. Hey, Padawannabe, how are you? I've only had 2 times since I moved when the ice became a real problem for the town. All right. Well, hey, welcome. Good to see you. Hey, folks, y'all coming in still. Make sure you vote in our poll tonight. When do you start decorating for Christmas? Before Thanksgiving, before Halloween, after Halloween, but before Thanksgiving, after Thanksgiving, or do you not decorate at all? So we'll see. Make sure you hit that like button. We've got the great Alaska Jeff here. We're kind of going in bonus time right now, Jeff. If you need to go, let me know if you got to go. But
I'm here for as long as you are
all
here.
right. Well, that's cool. With great people hanging out, talking to us. And folks, if you have questions, let us know. I mean, if there's something Jeff can handle, we can see, or, if you have thoughts or questions, share your experience, like this car battery thing. That's a problem we Southerners don't really have to deal with. So, but great to see, always like to, get news stories, share news stories and stuff like that. We talked about traveling around the country. So, what has amazed me too, one of the things, and I think it's probably here too, is that what I've loved up in the mountains that was that not only we saw elk, we saw the bison, but the running water in the mountains, the hills, like you showed earlier. Oh, we saw something like that with the raven in Yellowstone. They're down on the ground. They're really hunting for everything like crazy. And I got to say thank you for another subscriber tonight. I YouTube does not always tell me who that is, but we got AJ was earlier. We got another subscriber. We're at 525 again. Woohoo! Thank y'all for the support of the channel. Hope to see y'all a lot this week because we've got a whole stuff coming. But Jeff, so this is a moose again, correct? Female moose.
So this is a young
Okay.
male, as I
Oh,
understand.
no.
This
Okay.
guy is probably about 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and he was raised basically by his mother in the neighborhood.
Mm.
So where does he want to hang around? Around the neighborhood.
Yeah,
So
of course.
suddenly it's like now we have a residential moose that doesn't want to leave.
Oh no, that's too funny.
So you got to be careful around it. Don't go. You're going to go out for your evening stroll. Just be careful. Don't keep your eye out. Make sure there's no moose there.
Exactly. So yeah. So I will. I don't know if I exactly stated it, but thank you to whoever number 525 who just subbed recently. Thank you for that.
Ooh, huzzah!
Is huzzah. I say okay. Now, Mrs. said that's a Jeff. That's a dangerous statement. Dadman has been known to talk for hours. Hey,
well,
look.
that's equally dangerous because I've been known to talk for hours.
Hey, there you go. 24-hour stream right there for you folks. But so because I tell you what, it was a day at work where I had to stay focused a lot, and I DM people or try to text people, and I talk like crazy as much as I can because it's like you're stuck by yourself. And the last 2 days have been like very focused work. But let me say good night to CLS Studio. Oh, got to go sleep. I will be a regular chatter now. I know you. I chat everywhere I go. So, hey, listen, we love chatters. Thank you for CLS. I see the Lego in there, but also, Mrs. Dadman has a channel. I'm guessing from the Lego, if you like Legos and builds, check out the Mrs. sometimes in her channel. And Jess, if you could throw that link in there again for me for the people that are here, Mrs. She does build streams periodically, and actually, you Squeaka referred. You said Squeaka is going to be donated a build to the missus. That's going to be Thursday at 12 Eastern, where the missus is going to be making that building, the Starry Nights, based on a Van Gogh painting. So you know that's going to be a good time with that. So, and there's the oh wow, there we go. There's the link there. All right. And hello, Sovu. Hello. How are you tonight? Good to see you too here. All right. And on that note, I see there's Mrs. Twitter. And Sovu, welcome. Hopefully you stay. Hopefully you like what you see. And everybody hit that like button. And, we've got 12 people with us. Feel free to talk with us a little bit. And hopefully we got 2 more subs tonight. Let's get this channel to 1,000. Why? Just for the fun of it. On that note, I will say good night. Have to get up for showtime at 9 a.m. Good night, Mrs. I know I will see you in just a moment as you come in here. So,
have a good night, Mrs. Dadman.
Oh, already, almost all the Lego Star Wars set numbers. Oh, so definitely will. All right, well, wonderful. And also you can check on her channel some of the previous builds that she's done with that. Only one bad build was this motorcycle, which was a non-Lego brand, but it was like. It was tempting your religion, patience, and everything else because it just kept falling apart. But hey, but she managed through it, and now but the grizzly bear only took less than 2 hours. That was what's so funny about it. All right, Jeff. So what have we got here now?
This right here, if I remember right, this is Hope Glacier.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, before I say that, let me just double check this.
Yeah, go ahead. Well, while you do that, I am going to go ahead and actually I'm going to multitask with something else. While you're doing that, I am going to. Oh shoot, I don't have that up. Let's see. I was going to share something funny for everybody again. While you're looking, just take your time with that. So it's all good.
All right.
So let's see. All right, folks. All right, here we go. We got. Yeah, it's got to take a second to open, folks. Nothing like uh, going on the fly. So, all right, here we go. This one, hey, we do memes. We do memes. And like I said, you'll be seeing some of these memes again. But hey, ho, ho, ho. That was the last year Santa would forget to bring his glasses. Hey,
Hey, wait! Oh, wait! I know this comic. This is a Tundra comic, an Alaskan classic.
Oh, really?
He's our resident comic artist.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, well, that's
I
I tell
actually met
you.
him the other day.
Yeah, really.
He was down here at our Christmas market. So
That's awesome. Yeah, it's kind of funny. So hey, we got that. Are you ready? Are you ready now, Jeff?
I yeah, I think so. It's not the glacier. That's not the name of the glacier. I can't remember what it is, and I can't seem to pull up a map, sadly. So I'm flying blind on which glacier this is. But this is a very interesting glacier. You can see this on the Alaskan glacier cruise that heads out of Seward. Fascinating experience if you come up to Alaska. This is a must for most people. You have a chance of seeing a lot of wildlife.
Interesting.
I got to see 6 humpback whales once, along with a pod of orcas, including an infant orca among that batch. Porpoises. You can see beluga sometimes. You can see seals, a lot of seals, and sea lions, massive sea lions. Countless birds. Is a really neat place. But one of the things you come to is a glacier. And they have a couple of glaciers they'll go to. It's not guaranteed which one you're going to get to see. But let me get a pulled back picture of this area.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Now, I want you to realize that the ship that we were on was about half the height of this rock back here. So you zoom in. So our ship barely came up to halfway up that rock. Now, that area is dangerous. You do not want to walk out there. Remember what I said about the hundreds of feet worth of crevasses that you could fall down?
Yeah.
That's one of those areas that you could fall into.
Yeah.
Seals are all around the area here. And whales will come up close because this is where a lot of minerals will be deposited. And so thus you have a lot of plankton that will come in.
Not the SpongeBob plankton. Sorry. Oh, by the way, Santa Megatron said good night, Mrs. So yeah. Oh, but yeah, that's interesting. So the polar bear. Did you mention the polar bears down there? You talked about seals.
No polar bears. Not in this area.
No. What about
we're too far south for that.
What about walrus?
No walrus either.
Okay.
Yeah, that's when you get to the northern part of the state.
Ah, okay. Makes sense.
But this area right here, what you don't normally hear about. This area right here is growing. How many times have you heard about a glacier is shrinking?
All the time. Yeah, you always
hear
that they're shrinking. Yeah.
This glacier is growing by 200. What was it? Between 200 and 500 feet a year.
Wow.
So you can imagine how much distance it's growing. There's another one. It's growing even more than that. And it's in the same vicinity. I don't remember what it is, but
hey, sorry.
Oh,
Jeff,
look who it is.
Just popped up. The polar bear. Roar. Snortopoopas. Good to see you. Good to see you. How are you doing tonight, friend? And of course, hello, humans and other critters. So, hey, Yeah.
I think I got a strategy about what you're supposed to do if you see a polar bear.
What's that?
Uh-huh. It's oh my.
Oh
That's not what
no.
I was not intending to find.
Google searches are always that's why I always make sure definitely make sure you have a different that's not on your monitor that's being shown at the moment. Occasionally I
Yep.
forget, but usually it's just a sports site, but it's like, oh my gosh, you never know these days where a link will take care of you.
Yep.
No,
This is what you do to a polar bear. You just got to get a couple of nice jabs in on it.
oh, yeah.
They give it a nice kick there, and then run away.
Oh my gosh, that's too
But
funny.
no, the
Eh,
first thing a polar bear is, good way to have your life flash before your eyes.
exactly. Don't tempt fate. Do not tempt fate. Oh, that's too funny, Jeff. Oh goodness. So.
But yeah, so in the what I was mentioning about is that this is one of the areas in the world where the glaciers are actually growing in a
Mm-hmm,
substantial distance too. Like they're actually having to try and figure out what they're going to do for the ships because
mm-hmm,
they're so used to coming in and looking at these glaciers, and now the ice is just pushing them back.
mm-hmm.
So it's really throwing them for a loop. And it's like, wow, we thought for certain that this was gone, and now it's making a comeback.
Mm. Yeah, absolutely. So
Do not
it's.
believe the news, by the way, folks. That rock right there is the reason why. This rock out here in the middle, you will hear people,
Mm-hmm,
they'll say like, and there's another one where it's just like this, where you see a rock kind of sticking out, because these areas, you're always going to have these rocks sticking out. Like here's a previous one that used to be out there, things like that. But you will hear people on the news, especially, they'll freak out about the ice and they'll show pictures like this and show like the rock will suddenly start appearing and say, oh, look, this rock is appearing. It used to be covered by ice. Look how far it's moved back. And then you look at a picture from 50 years ago and the exact same rock is there. But this is one of the areas where the rocks are actually being overtaken. And so
mm-hmm.
that rock will probably never be seen again.
Oh wow, that's interesting. Wow. Yeah, because it's building up and over it. Yeah, that very interesting. When we still got 10 people, make sure y'all vote in our poll. Jeff, I left you a comment in a private chat real quick.
Okay.
But I want to go back since we got the bear himself here. I don't know if he's seen this. I want to show this again because it happened earlier. This is a story, and I might have showed you the other night, Snort Poopus, but if I didn't, here it goes. And if I did, well, guess what? You get to see it again. So, a story of a skier that has a close encounter with a bear on a ski slope. So here we go, folks. Little is right there. There's the bear, and then voila! All right, it's been interesting. The bear taking out. It's just so avoid all bears on the ski slopes too while you're at it, folks. So hey, but love that. I don't know. For some reason it's so funny. Hey. Hello, DJ Play Nice. Good to see you. Hey, thank you all the support. Seen you a lot around lately. Appreciate you. Yeah, rock that algorithm. Yeah, you see you. Thanks for dropping through. Make sure you hit the like button and also vote in our poll though if you can. Vote in the poll because we're trying to see when you decorate for Christmas. So, Snort Poopus, yeah, you love that. I know you did. So, but there we go. All right. So, hey, we got 10 people still with us tonight. Thanks for being here with us. You know what we're going to do? I'm going to rewind it. We're going to watch that one more time because I can't get enough of that. Right there. And voila. Just amazing, definitely do not want to get hit by that polar bear. That would not feel good flying down the slope like that and running into something, even if it's a small bear, it's a big bear.
I feel like
Yeah.
someone needs to voice over that with Yogi Bear and say something like, "Boo boo, where's the picnic basket?"
Boo boo, why do these people get in our way? Yeah, exactly. So, uh, but yeah, let's see. I'm trying to get two things here. Yeah. So, and we'll actually, let's see. I'm doing some of these memes. It's kind of funny. So, but I still like this one. I'll replay one from earlier, though, folks. Everybody loves that great Mariah Carey song. You know, the one that everybody dreads. Well, guess what, folks? Here we go. One snowflake falls, then here comes. Ah, all right. So, all right. Whenever you have that up, Jeff, I'll be ready. So, all
Okay.
right. So we'll go with that. But hey, like I said, we're going to be showing these memes and other memes for days coming up as we go through this week, which is coming up scheduled. I'll go ahead and tell it for people passing through. If you don't make it to the end, Alaska Jeff, obviously, tonight, tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. Die Hard with Daisy Blossom. Come debate with us whether it's a Christmas movie or not. Thursday night, Squeak a Mouse with the 2023 edition of our holiday special. Then on Saturday will be the Me and the Missus with a gingerbread build. And that should be fun with the two of us together. And uh, then, of course, Sunday is a very special time with Masters Maniac Mexico and a German Christmas. So, all right. So, and whenever you're ready, Jeff, we will.
Yep.
Because I do
Right now,
want to follow up.
it's not wanting to load up right now. I had it on a Google presentation, and
Okay.
lo and behold, it turns out Google presentation's really slow.
Oh, that's okay. That's that. Yeah. So that way, if you already have it up, it's not a big. Yeah. All right. But hey, it is a wonderful thing. Thank you for everybody for being here still tonight. We've got 11 people here with us. Thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe it, share it out. We're still going a little bit longer. We're kind of hitting a thing or two because I do want to spend a few minutes. This was something, and let me know if you're ready, Jeff, and
Yep.
I'll bring it
Good to
up.
go. Good to go.
All right. This was the map that fascinated me earlier, and it just about the length of time of difference in daylight. Okay, so it's this is specifically the difference in daylight hours between June.
Mhm.
So basically, what this is telling us is, I guess, between June and December, there's in the white is essentially that there's no that it's daytime all the time.
Daytime to nighttime. Yep. So you have constant daytime during the summer, and
Mm-hmm.
then during December, you have constant night.
Mm. And then, of course, as you move south, you get a little more daylight or a little more nighttime, depending on the time of year. Well,
Absolutely.
so and so. What does it? Do you have a favorite time of year? Because see, this is the time of year I like. I actually, as a Floridian, love the winter. I love the shorter days when it gets dark early because God, in July and August and those late longer days, it's when it's so hot. I mean, it's 10 o'clock at night or even 11 o'clock at night. It's still 90 degrees with about 70% humidity, and your
Mhm.
AC's been running all day. It's like, oh, so at least night kind of, it just seems like better. But do you have a preference?
Uh, so I gotta say, I actually prefer fall,
Mm,
but you don't have much fall up here. Like I showed in the picture earlier, you have
mm-hmm,
the sometimes fall is overtaken by winter, and then you have only a few days left before all the leaves disappear. Um, our fall is over in a moment. You sneeze and all the leaves are gone. So
mm,
I do love the winter up here, though. It is very beautiful. And there's some people, they hate the winter. They come up here and all they do is complain about the snow. Like, oh no, more snow. Oh, it's
Why would you
miserable.
go there? Yeah.
Well,
Oh
that's
my
my
gosh.
question. It's like, well, you've been living here for all your life. Why don't you go somewhere else? But I think that there's kind of like I think if you can I think if you by default
Mm-hmm,
complain about a region that you're in and that's all you can do and you can't see the blessing behind it,
mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter where you go, you're going to start complaining about that region soon as well. So there's a guy I knew, he moved and went down to Arizona, pretty soon he was complaining about the heat.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah, everywhere's going to have its blessings and its frustrations.
Well, you kind of wonder sometimes. You feel for people if they're trapped in a situation they can't get out and leave it. But the people that move into it, yeah, it's a different thing. We have 21 likes, folks, tonight. Two new subs. Thank you all so much for the support tonight. We've still got 10 people watching with us, so thank you for being here with us tonight and hanging out with us. Talking to Jeff from Alaska about Alaska. So now, this, like I said, this was you came out with this right off the bat. That was really fascinating to see this, and and what we talked about. We talked little bit about the history, the military history of some things that we did not know, that I didn't know. We talked about some of them. We know Attu and Kisco are down in the Aleutian Islands in World War II, but where on that map? If you could bring it back up.
Yeah. I actually pressed away from there.
Yeah, sorry. Just
where's the button?
Here we go. Where the Civil War event? Do you remember what year it happened? But basically, where did that happen? If you could plot it on the map.
The sorry, say that again. I just got
the Civil War story with the whaler. The whaler.
So as I understand, it happened down here. So I don't know where in particular, but it was down here towards the Aleutian Islands.
Okay.
So it's going. Is my okay? It is appearing on the screen. Okay.
Yeah, I see your cursor. Here. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Curses. You see
and
my
cursor. And most of those are like volcanic rock, though. They're really not inhabitable. Correct.
Oh, they are very inhabitable.
Oh, they are. Okay.
They're just not a place you really want to live. So you have a place over here. Now, this is a very weird name. It's called Unalaska.
Unalaska?
Unalaska.
Okay.
And it's right there. It's one of the biggest fisheries in the world. And they have a town there that sends all the crab boats and whatnot up into the Bering Sea. So you will hear about that on Deadliest Catch or whatnot. What you don't hear about is that this place is packed full of ships. And they go all throughout this area fishing. But you have people that live out here, way out into the west here. But it's really hard to get help to them. So not a lot of people live out there.
Yeah.
If they're out there, it's usually they're there for a season, then they come back. I think the furthest west is the town of Adak that has a town on it, something like that. But not much further than that. There are some islands out there. They are basically a mesa that just reaches up out of the ocean into the sky, and birds live on all around it. They're massive mountains, and there's no way to get onto the mountain without a helicopter. Just because there's no coast. It just reaches up out of the water. So there is something though on, I believe it was the island of Adak. There is actually a rumored buried treasure by a pirate.
Oh wow.
And people have hunted for it, and they found gold coins that seem to suggest that the pirate treasure does exist.
Well, hey, anybody been known to go look for it?
Yes, and some people have found parts of it, but they've not found the main stash.
Just enough to keep them going, kind of like I don't know, maybe fool's gold. But hey, I don't know. I just that'll be interesting though. Maybe we could get a posse together. We can round up an expedition to go out there and look for it. I had to pick the right time of year though, because I can imagine how bad storm season is.
I would rather vote on finding some forgotten river and panning for gold. You're going to get more doing that.
Yeah, there you go.
That's part of the problem is that there can be a treasure out here, but this area is dangerous.
Yeah.
And so the risk going out there is a little too high for the reward. It's not like finding Blackbeard's treasure. It's not going to be like super massive or whatnot, or the fabled lost treasure of Bartholomew Roberts. It's not like that. It's a smaller treasure. And when you compare it to that, there's gold still throughout the state.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much motivation for people to want to go over here. I actually know some gold miners, and they make a substantial amount on the interior, and for relatively average labor. Whereas on ADAC, they would have to like travel out there, and they did like a whole documentary about it, and they've struggled to find anything out there
Mm-hmm.
because there's actually a lot of territory to try and cover, and there's a possibility that someone already found it and they just didn't announce it to the world.
Yeah. Wow. That's yeah. A lot of times you don't want to announce it. You keep it secret, though. So for
Mhm.
safety and security. Um, let's take a look at another picture. To look at a couple of the snow pictures that you've got. Like the Dairy Queen ice cream and stuff. Of course, here's the Northern Lights again. That is a beautiful, beautiful scene. And this one again that's a
A
dog,
sundog.
sundog. Yes, which is a reflection of the light.
Yeah,
Oh,
so the light's refracting through the ice crystals in the air, being amplified almost as if you have a magnifying glass.
well, that's something.
Basically, when you look in the sky, you see between 3 to 5 suns in the sky.
Snort of Poopus. Yeah, Jeff's trying to make me homesick. I thought about you with this one coming up, especially with there being so much snow and all that other stuff. We're about to see some of the powerful creatures though coming up, I think. And of course, there's the hoarfrost again.
Mm-hmm.
So there you
The
go.
the
With
bad picture of it, but yeah,
the
it
bad
is the
picture.
hoarfrost.
And then some more snowfall. Yeah, because I will get up to the creatures too. Like I said, even in May, June, is amazing up in those higher elevations and Yellowstone how they had snow and ice still on the ground, with running water next to it. It's just amazing.
By the way, you will find some rivers. I
Mm-hmm.
forgot to mention this earlier. You'll find some rivers that are open like this and others that are completely frozen. The ones you have
Right.
to watch out for are the ones that look frozen, but they actually have warm water underneath. And so you step on it and you actually fall through.
Oh wow.
So
Okay.
just because you see ice out there doesn't mean you should go walking on it.
We had there was some, even like I said, May, June, there still were parts of that water that were frozen up there, but it did not look like a solid freeze either, too. So oh wow. Nice view of those northern lights. Of course, some snow shoveling off a car.
And by the way, this doesn't happen too terribly often, but occasionally you will get such heavy snowfall where it does feel like you've been transported into the world of Star Wars.
Oh gosh, yeah. You're in Hoth. Yeah.
Yeah, punch it, Chewie. And you just see that it looks like you've just jumped into hyperspace.
Yeah. Oh, and they had some really heavy snowfalls. This is what I love. This reminded me of Dairy Queen ice cream, like I said earlier. It's just so smooth, and I mean, it looks like somebody had to make it and smooth it, but it just formed naturally.
Mm-hmm. I would like to see like a time lapse of it building up, but I've not seen a video of it yet.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to tell when the snowfall is going to do that, and you don't know where to set up the camera. So when
Right.
you see it, it's wonderful, but it's very hard to film.
Exactly. So, wow. And there we go. There we go. We can now call it complete. Now we have the great Snortopoopus's cousin. Which cousin this is, we do not know. And of course, our friend Daisy, her son's Liam Grey Wolf. He's a streamer, and he's like, "Hey, the Grey Wolf. Hey, we got bears and wolves on this channel." And yeah, life finds a way. So hey, yeah, it's snow at least until it falls on you. Yeah, we talked about that falling snow and avalanches earlier tonight. So yeah, absolutely. So, but hey, a great shot here. So, but thanks, Jeff.
So there's something I want to mention about polar bears before I forget. This is fascinating.
Mhm.
A polar bear is more at home in the water than anywhere else. What's really shocking about it is that they have recorded, like they have tracked a polar bear swimming through the water for 9 days straight. This is through the deep ocean that it will just go swimming. It just decides that, hey, you know what? It's time to
9 days.
Yep, it's time to go see the world.
Okay.
And
I
it
got a
went for a
question.
total of 400. Where is it? 427 miles.
Okay. I aim not to get political on my show and channel. I really don't. Okay. But I have seen, you asked about one of the other things about, that rock and the ice forming. But I've also seen many
Oh,
times that
my bad.
people use a image of polar bears and like, oh, they're running out of ice and nowhere to sink. And I'm like, so I'm sitting here thinking, like, I did not realize that they were that type. I mean, they're not a fully aquatic animal, but they're not also not. They're also not. Just because you see them in the water doesn't mean that they're struggling.
These things are amazing. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
nine
great to hear.
days straight. What other animal do you know that can swim for 9 days straight and not and not need to catch its breath? The thing was recorded eating fish along the way. For whatever reason, fish came up to it and it just ate them on the spot.
Wow, talk about a self-serve buffet, Snortopoopas. That would be the life. Hey, I guess that's one way to work off all that you eat. So, but yeah.
Hmm. Oh, and a terrifying thing: if
Hmm.
you're on the ice, if you see a polar bear and he dives into the water, run. Get as far away as you can because the polar bear is diving under the ice and he's going to come up underneath you.
Oh, really? Interesting.
They can hold their breath for a long time. And they're down there just trying to find a way to get to you. They're like, "Oh yeah, there's that human up top. I wonder how far I need to swim to actually be able to reach him." And they are it's hard to even like describe how at home in the water these things are. I mean, it's
Hmm.
practically a fish.
No,
I mean, this thing cannot be stopped. Even with
no.
a high power rifle, this thing can't be stopped. And by the way, there are more polar bears nowadays than there were about 100 years ago
Mm,
because they have more food, because there's more fish.
wow, that's interesting to know. So, another beautiful shot of a majestic polar bear.
Hmm.
Yeah.
If I remember right, this was taken at the Alaska Zoo or something like
Hmm.
that.
It's just amazing that they can. Yeah, 9 days. That is still amazing because, like I said, that would be interesting to counter because, like I said, I've seen that argument made that it's like, oh, they're going to be in trouble because they have nowhere to land, and it's more ecotourist. Keep those tasty treats coming. who
And it's
needs
not
who
just
needs
the
fish?
adults,
Yeah.
the cubs can do it too.
Oh, well, see, that's what also with part was insinuated. It was like a mama bear with the cubs. It was like, oh, the cubs are going to struggle. How are they going to swim? And it's like, oh my, well, looks like they can swim better than humans. So,
Hmm.
but
Yeah,
no,
massive creatures, beautiful creatures, but I never want to come face to face with one.
no, not at all, not at all. All right, well, I think we're going to go ahead and end it here. And Jeff, thank you for being here tonight. I'm going to end up with one more meme here because, like I said, you will see some of these memes again tonight. One last shot of the polar bears. Thank you, Jeff. We're going to do some outros. So here, Jeff, actually, with these images here, tell me, Jess, if you can put Jeff's Twitch and YouTube links. Jeff, go ahead and tell everybody about what you do, who you are, where they can find you.
Much appreciated. I've been doing streams for a little over a year now. Uh, the channel for the stuff we've been doing over in my neck of the woods has been going through some changes. We got some big changes in the very near future. Thanks, Jess, for posting that. Just linked to a YouTube channel that I hope to be building up here in the near future. With a fair amount of content, we're trying to create original content, and that's going to more information will come out on that soon once the first wave of it is completed. And that's one of the big reasons why I feel like I'm sitting on my hands a lot with a lot of this stuff is that we have a lot of stuff in development. And I don't want to tell people here it is until it's there. Just because so many people they'll promise the moon and never deliver it. I want to make sure that everything's all squared away, good to go, and then I can say here we're ready to go. We're just starting with Rumble. We're not really, we don't have a whole lot of growth over there yet. But as these things come about, we're going to make Rumble a main hub for it. So if you find art animation interesting, if you like the idea of some of the creative stuff that we do over there, then feel free to come by, see what it is, and see if it's something you find interesting.
Sorry, I got caught with a snack. Kind of like
No
the bear
worries.
with the fish. But hey, folks, go check Jeff out, folks. Twitch. The hardest part in our experience with Twitch is getting signed up and getting through their whatever. I mean, it shouldn't be so hard to get an account, but it can be tricky. But if you're on Twitch, go follow him over there. Also, follow the missus. This note, Mrs. aiming for affiliate on Twitch, which her last measure she has to do is average 3 viewers. She's at 2.91 now. So if you have a Twitch account, go watch her at 9 o'clock in the morning on Twitch. Jess, if you can put Mrs.'s links back out one more time for me, I'd appreciate it. Or stunning, either one of y'all that can do that. But there's Jeff here. Check out his Castercraft. Like I said, it's getting started there. Rumble to be rolling out even more coming up. So, and of course, you got some more daytime streams coming up on Rumble.
So we've been doing daytime streams over on Rumble. Actually, we've kind of put most of our activities streams on Rumble for the time being. I'm not too happy with how the platform has been behaving. Far too many bots for my preference, but we are giving it a try, and hopefully we'll grow stuff over there because I really want to see them succeed. Mostly because I don't like the idea of there being limitations of just one platform of YouTube or whatnot. I want Rumble to have a fighting chance. So I want to give it first dibs on it. And then if it works out, then great. If not, then we'll use plan B with YouTube.
There you go.
And all I hate AIs. Yes, indeed, Jess. And bots are AIs.
Yes, exactly. Well, the Mrs. Follow her on Twitter at mdadmanwalking. Of course, watch her on Twitch, Mrs. Dadman Walking. Also on YouTube, Mrs. Dadmanwalking 55. There is a difference. So basically, folks, hey, 9 o'clock in the morning, if you start your day off with a daily dose of positivity, it's going to be wonderful. You're going to have fun with it. Check her out and, help her grow her channel. And the 2024 is the year of the battle of her and me, and she's to pass me. We got a video of it, but I'm not ready to play it tonight. A friend of ours made for it, which is really, really awesome to see with that. But hey, let me show you one more meme on the way out. We've got this. I made a gingerbread house for Christmas. Let me know if you want the recipe. Oh, that's too funny. All right. So
I bet only gingers can live there.
Probably. We'll see who knows. Hey, there's got to be a place that's safe for gingers. So hey, you know about how all the redhead replacements. So all right. Well, Jeff, thank you again for being here. Oh, yeah, Snore Poopers did say that was yummy, so that's good. All right. Well, folks, I'm going to wrap up with my stuff. Make sure you get miss us at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Be sure to go by, say hi. The fun keeps going tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern, at the movies with Daisy Blossom. This is our normal monthly show that we do, but we moved it up a week from the last Wednesday of the month to this Wednesday before Christmas to be able to get, let's watch it together. Let's talk about the movie itself. But hey, is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? Yeah, you decide. Let me know what you think. It's going to be interesting to see. I have my opinion. Jeff has his opinion. Daisy's going to have her opinion. Feel free, hang out and chat. Talk the movie with us. Tell us what you think. Yes, this is still on, Hungry. Thank you for coming by. You had to go back and watch the replay. We had some Christmas lights. We had plenty of polar bears, wildlife, and a lot of snow. So good to see you tonight, friend. I'm glad you made it in tonight. So with that, so Daisy Blossom and me tomorrow night. I hope it's a lively show, and then we'll have a lot of fun with this. And of course, everybody's favorite, Alan Rickman, and Bruce Willis too. So hey, great movie that we've got coming up with this. So is it a Christmas movie? Is it not? All right. Actually, yes. And go back and watch the stream. I know you do that. Folks, watch our streams. We got playlist. Watch our streams, retweet them out or reshare them out, hit the likes, leave comments and stuff. Help the algorithm. Get us out there. We are up to 525 subs tonight. Thank you to the new subs tonight. Thank you for everybody that's come through. Before I go any further, everybody voted. We got 15 votes in this poll. Wow. Hey, Wade. Okay, Wade, Hungry, y'all better vote in the poll real quick. Hit that like button too. All right, those are your marching orders. But we have a poll where the question is, when do you start decorating? After Halloween? Let's see. After Halloween? No, before Halloween, after Halloween and pre-Thanksgiving, or after Thanksgiving, or you don't decorate. Whether it's bah humbug or you just don't do it. So we got 15 votes already. Let me give it half another second. So, all righty. So we got 21 likes. Thank you all for the support tonight. Appreciate everybody here. And with that, I'm going to close the poll in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And Jeff, I think you're right. I think you're the only one that voted before Halloween.
No,
I think you are, because we got we got 7% with that.
You all are Grinches.
6% it actually dropped. We ended up with a good old 99%. 15 votes though. 9 people obviously voted for after Thanksgiving. 60%. Don't decorate are only 20%. Wow, that's interesting. And then after Halloween, but before Thanksgiving is 13%, and then before Halloween was only 6%. So, hey, it's interesting, I will say, my friend. But hey, nice poll. We will probably repeat this poll again during these next few days. But hey, if we do, we do. Hey, at least I remembered to close the poll tonight. That's a shock.
What I'm hearing is that I need to make another 3 or 4 accounts in order to vote.
Yes.
There we go.
I always say vote early, vote often. And I'm going through this. I'm looking at this, and look, we got 15 people here now. We got 14 on the YouTube side after I just closed the poll. This is how we end up with 9-hour streams, though, Jeff. Because which is funny that this guy comes in and says this. It's like, yeah, this is what happens. I told you we're the squirrel channel. We'll just go. I mean, if people are in participating, we'll just keep going as long as we can, and have some fun with it. I just don't want to use up all my memes tonight. That's what's crazy. So,
yeah, you have to balance out the memes. I mean, there is an endless supply of memes, but that would require searching for them, and that does take a lot of time, honestly, to find some good ones.
Exactly. I've got a great guy, Mr. Angel, that helps me find them. Yep.
I got a good resource for you though.
Okay.
Um, let me see here.
All right. Oh, Snore Poopa says he keeps 4 decorations up year round. He's a lazy bear. Hey, why not? I don't blame you. I would too. But need to be different. And then Hungry says Die Hard is not a Yuletide film, laughing his posterior off. But hey, we'll make sure you're here tomorrow night to argue for it. So hey,
If you can go to the share screen for just a split
yep,
moment.
yep.
This is the comic that I mentioned about. It is an Alaskan artist.
Mm-hmm.
This place has an endless supply of memes that range for all times of year, and they're isolated to one frame usually. So this is a good resource should you need some memes.
Unless you're in the Soviet Union where the memes find you.
It is true.
Oh my gosh. Well, Hungry's a mic geek, so he loves your mic. So
Much, yeah, much
yeah.
appreciated. You should have heard the very first time I was ever on a live stream.
Mm-hmm.
It was so embarrassing. I turned on the mic, and it was nothing but static.
Oh jeez.
And what it turns out is that StreamYard doesn't have any noise canceller, and so it sounded awful. And I listened back to it later, and it was just ridiculous how noisy it was. So I went out and got a Yeti mic, and it still did it. And then it turned out that I needed to have a noise canceller installed, and so I've been using that ever since.
Wow. No, that's yeah. You need to have what you need to do. So Hungry says mega fab, and then of course Snorta Poopa says so much for Elf on a Shelf. So well, that's interesting. All right. Well, hey, that's neat. It's cool that I shared a different one of the memes earlier. That's kind of funny. By complete accident.
Oh, it
All
was a
right.
providential accident.
Providential. Yeah, there you go. There's a providence. That's a wonderful concept. But hey, folks. All right. Well, we'll go ahead. We'll close up with this. Like I said, tomorrow night, Die Hard. Is it or is it not a Christmas movie? All right. Also, then Thursday night, the night after, thank you, Squeaka, for your shout outs earlier. Thank you to studios that came through. The 2023 edition of the Dead Man Holiday Special, Thursday night at 8 p.m. with Squeaka Mouse as the guest on YouTube and Twitch. So be here for that. That should be loads of fun. Can't wait to see a combination of different things with this one. This could be an hour and a half. It could be 4 hours. Who knows what's going to happen? But, you never know. Memes, silly stories. If you're familiar with some of the games we play on our channel, Beyond Memes, we may try some of that if we can find the right thing. So, be sure to come hang out with us and let's have some fun together with this. This is like, a personal favorite of mine, being the second edition of it, being one of my first non-football, non-Fortnite streams before. And so thank you for her graciously deciding to do it again this year with us. So, also Friday night, getting out of the little bit out of the, okay, Hungry, you're here. Yeah, you can come out. All you geeks, nerds, and all, you can come out. We're going to get a little sci-fi here. Buck Rogers in the 25th century here now. On Friday night, we're going to get back. Hey, all these guest people that are in the show. Last week we had one with Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, guess what? Gary Coleman is going to show up in a guest feature of the episode this week. So, hey, it's a wonderful thing. So join Daisy Blossom, Hungry, JT Kirk, and me for a great time Friday night where we talk about this show. Come in, relive your memories from back then. Hopefully, maybe if you can find the show, it's worth it. It's a good show, like a lot of 70s shows. So exactly. Let's see. Yeah, you probably could, but I don't think she could survive it though. We need to take care of people, keep things in moderation. So, but all right, and this is another big one on Sunday, Christmas Eve, 3 p.m. Eastern. Join Mrs. and me as we celebrate Christmas Eve with Masters Maniac Mexico. He's a special guest. He's a special guy. He's actually going to prepare a traditional German meal and talk about some Christmas stories, some German Christmas traditions, and we're actually going to play at least one game. There could be multiple games. There might be prizes. We're still waiting to see how that works out. But hey, feel free, join us here on YouTube and Twitch on Sunday for that.
There better be sauerkraut.
I don't know. I don't know that he's still with us this late at night, but I will have. We'll find out for sure. That's for sure. We will definitely find out. So um so yeah, exactly. The oh, the buck. LOL. Oh, what he? I'm like, yeah, probably that would be true. That would be true. Snort of poopus. Poor thing. Snort poopus does not like the sauerkraut. Hell to you, Liam Grey Wolf. How are you tonight? Good to see you tonight. All right, over on the Twitch side. Oh, we got 13 people. Oh, wow. So let's see. Look here. We got this. Oh, shoot. It double screened. All right. Chill chats or something. Will be random. Right now, January looks like a month of improv. I don't really have any real stream scheduled. There's some football coming up in December and January. So there might be us back to some sports emphasis a little bit. But, I don't know. I've been kind of relaxing a little bit lately. We're working on this thing, so doing some different things. Well, chill chats or something when I go random. Always be prepared for those that can happen at a minute's notice, which means when I show the Twitter link again that Jess has linked out there, definitely doing things. So Liam said he's doing great, working on things like always. Hopefully we're doing well. I'm doing great tonight. This has been a fun stream. We've had a lot of people come in and through and new subs and stuff. Fortnite is also one of our fun games that we do with the misses especially. So, yeah, improv equals squirreling. There you go, Jeff. See, he knows me. Yep, exactly. We started one night where, well, yeah, he is. Well, he's with me too. But I tell you what, there's one night we did breakfast cereals, and it took us 3 different shows to finally sort of complete breakfast cereals.
Ooh.
Because we kept jumping off onto other topics in the 2 previous streams. So how that goes. And of course, late night with Dad, my friends. We've not done this a lot lately. I honestly have been, you can't have late night with Dad, man. You got to have the friends with you. And so with the missus streaming, it's taken away a little bit of flexibility at night and people's schedules. It's kind of, but it's been well received when we've done it, and hope to get back to this again soon. But it's also, there have been a few days lately I've needed sleep. So, and that you got to do it. Squirrel. There you go. It truly is. It's like an unofficial mascot of our channel. Our friend Rambling Canuck, actually, there you go. The live streams and videos on YouTube and Twitch at DadmanWalking55. Follow me on Twitter at DadmanWalking55. That's, and not Dad. It has to be DADMANWALKING55. There is one without the G that uses my logo. It is not me. That is not me. If you get anything from them, it is not me. And do not deal with them. So, I don't know. I love the late nights. I just need to do it again. So that's cool. Ball. Yeah, we'll get people. I mean, we do. We're branching out. We get more people. So, yeah, but it's just been a fun process getting going in here with this, and with the missus doing her thing now, it's loads of fun. I will say. So there was something I was going to say and it slipped my head. Oh, the Dad Man and Friends. We'll get that going again. It's just been a bit of a time with, it's funny, when before you think all these streamers have, all this free time, they should be do everything and all. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I do not have enough hours in the day. It is so funny. And now that I've lost the miss still does my tech work, my graphic stuff and all, but she's got to do her own stuff. So like my football show, I've ended up having to do more of that now. And you start to learn how much time commitments you take. If you want to do it right, if you want to put some stuff into it, it does take some time. It really does. So, but All right. Well, I think with that, Jeff, we'll go ahead and call it a night. Do you have any other thoughts? I mean, we could have got 13 people here. I'm really amazed and happy and pleased that y'all are here. I mean, if you got anything else that you want to talk about, we can talk about it. But thanks for being here and starting off this Christmas week celebration.
Glad to be here. Yeah, there's always more to talk about, and that's why it's like some of these subjects you could go on for a long, long time. Golly, there was Mike. The people are around for it. Like, no, like I'll take a subject and stretch it out and out and out. I did 3 sessions back to back ranting about AI and its impact, so I could take
Mm-hmm.
most subjects and expand upon them. And so glad that you had me around.
Mm-hmm.
Much appreciated, and glad we got to cover so much ground.
Absolutely. I mean, we did and appreciate it. And then we blended the winters in with the Christmas season and some of the traditions. And thank you. I appreciate you willing to do this. Kick this week off, folks. Go to follow Jeff on Twitter. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, Castercraft, and thank y'all for supporting Jeff. I mean, I'm really touched and amazed. We still got 13 people here at 1:30 in the morning on the East Coast. Which is one of the reasons why I like the late night streams too sometimes, because there seems to be people want something to listen to, and hey, gotta it's fun. Have fun with friends and hang out and just talk a bit. So on that note, folks, thank you for everybody. And yeah, he does have a radio voice. Like I said, one of the best Fortnite videos we had, he narrated my demise of blowing up a gas station. So the pink unicorn.
Poor unicorn.
Yes.
Didn't stand a chance.
You're trying to take entertainment to the masses. Oh God, the whole thing was great. But hey, on that note, everybody, y'all have a great night. We'll catch y'all and have a good day. And we'll see you tomorrow night at 8 p.m. with Die Hard and Daisy Blossom. Bye, all.
Have a good night.